Right now, you're on one of two paths. Path number one, you sell services, you chase clients, and revenue resets every single month. If you stop working, then your income stops. Path number two, you build once, clients log into your system, revenue compounds, and instead of selling your time, you own the asset. Most entrepreneurs say that they want freedom, but they're building businesses that require them to be there every single day. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can move from path one to path two using Go High Level. No developers, no funding. We are going to build a real SaaS business step by step. Now, by the end of this masterclass, you will understand how to choose a profitable SaaS niche, how to install a fully functioning SaaS system, how to customize it for your unique market, how to price it properly, and how to get your first paying users within 30 days. This is not theory. This is not just motivational fluff where I'm just going to hype it up and tell you how amazing this opportunity is. This is the exact system that I've used to build and scale my own SaaS business within Go High Level. And honestly, this might be the most practical 2 to 3, or it might even be 3 to 4 hours by the time I'm done with this, to invest in your business this year. If we haven't met before, I'm Carly. I've been coaching entrepreneurs for over 12 years now, and I've been helping founders scale, systemize, and build businesses that don't rely entirely on them, all inside the Go High Level ecosystem specifically. Now, I built and scaled a white label SaaS company. I've won the High Level Gold SaaS Award. I've spoken on stage at the High Level Summit, and I've worked with founders across multiple industries, helping them transition from agency or service models into recurring revenue software businesses. So let's talk about SaaS mode. Now, turning on SaaS mode with High Level means that you can take Go High Level, you can white label it, which means that you can put on your own logo, your own branding, your own name, your website domain, and you can essentially sell it as if it is your own software that you built yourself. The best part about it is that you then get 100% of the profit. So all you do is you pay your monthly subscription to High Level. So you pay your $497 per month to Go High Level, and then you get to keep 100% of whatever people pay to be on your software. And you can decide whatever those subscriptions are. So you could have 3 tiers. You could have $197, $297, $497, $997 per month, whatever it is. You get to decide whatever you want to charge for this software, and you'll keep 100% of the profit. Now, the reason why so many people are choosing to build a SaaS with High Level is because of your earning potential. It is sky high. You decide how big you want to build this. And I know many people that earn multiple thousands per month, and it is an amazing revenue stream. It is really up to you how much you want to earn, and you are not capped at all. You keep all of the profits, so you can decide what your costs are for that business, and then you can keep all of those profits for yourself. But the main reason why this is such a smart decision is that you are building a real brand asset. If you ever wanted to go and sell your business, this is really valuable asset that makes your business even more valuable. And actually, I have loads of offers from people who are wanting to buy my SaaS for multiple 6 figures. So I've actually built something which is a sellable asset, and that is super cool. And if you are looking to really build a legit business, then this is a great thing to add in. But this is where I think it gets really smart. If you are running an agency, it secures you and enables you to keep a revenue stream from all of your clients, even if they leave. If you decide that one day you don't want to run your agency anymore, like I did, then you are still going to retain that subscription revenue from them, because they may leave your agency, or you may decide that you don't want the agency anymore, but they're not going to change the platform that they're on because their entire business is established on it. So it really gives you that security and enables you to have a much longer term relationship with all of those clients. And here's what I've noticed. Most people don't fail at SaaS because they're not smart enough. They fail because they think that SaaS means inventing software, and they just completely overthink it. They think it means developers, funding rounds, and technical complexity, but it honestly doesn't. What SaaS really is infrastructure plus positioning plus distribution. So when you understand that, the barrier to entry drops dramatically. So before we dive in, I want to show you exactly where we're going. So right here, by the end of this, you're going to have your branded dashboard. Your snapshot is all going to be installed. You've got pipelines, you've got automations, you've got your sales page and your entire sales funnel. You've got your onboarding funnel, and you've also got your whole SaaS configurator and your subscription setup. So this right here is a fully functioning SaaS platform. So clients log in, they manage their leads, they automate their follow-up, they book their appointments, they use all of their AI tools, and this entire system can be installed in under a day. So you can actually give them everything that they need in under a day from them signing up. Now, if you had 50 users that were paying you, say, $97 per month, then that's nearly $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue. If you had 100 users, you're at 10K monthly recurring revenue, and you didn't even build the software. So this is why this is so powerful. So here is how the masterclass is going to be structured. We're going to go through everything. So step 1, we're going to define your positioning. Step 2, we're going to decide your pricing and your packaging. Step 3, we're going to install the SaaS snapshot. So everything is going to be all within that snapshot. Step 4, we customize it for your niche. Step 5, we build your 30-day launch plan. And step 6, we're going to talk about retention and scale so that you can grow this as big as you want to. And by the time we finish, you're not just going to understand SaaS, you're going to understand exactly how to launch one and how to scale it so that there is no revenue ceiling for you. So by the end of this, you will know whether your SaaS model will feel stressful and it's going to keep you up at night, or if it's going to feel peaceful. And of course we want the peaceful one, so I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Okay, so I want to be really honest with you though. This is going to be a long video. It is super detailed. It is not surface level. You can skip around and use the timestamps if you want, but if you're serious about building something real, I encourage you to watch the whole thing from start to end. Now, I am literally covering everything. I've even got completely carried away in the old stationery shop, and I've got marker pens, I've got boards. I'm literally giving you everything that I've got in this video. So we are really not scratching the surface here. We are going deep into it, and by the end of it, you are going to have everything that you need. But I just want to go through a couple of things with you so that you can make the most out of this video. So the first thing is to hit the like button. That's not just a vanity metric. It's not just because I like getting loads of likes, but what it does is it tells YouTube that you really like this content and you want to see more of it. And then you are going to start to curate your own feed to get more of the stuff that you like. Secondly is download this video. As I said, this is not a video that you are just going to watch once and then forget all about. You're going to want to keep coming back to it. You may want to watch it on the plane, on the train, or wherever. And this is definitely one that you're going to want to keep in your downloaded section. The next one is to drop a comment below. Let me know who you are, where you're at in your journey. Have you started your SaaS yet? Are you thinking about starting your SaaS? Are you worried that it's not for you? Let me know the things that are holding you back from moving forward. I would really love to know them. I always reply to all of my comments. And then the last one is to download the workbook. So I am giving you so much in this video. I don't expect you to remember it all. So I've actually put together an entire workbook for you. If you go into the description of this video, you can actually find the link for that. You don't need to opt in. You don't need to give me your email in order to get it. I put all of this into a really helpful workbook, and it's really going to make this process of creating and launching your SaaS so much simpler. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how 50 users turns into 10K per month and why most people miscalculate that. Okay, so what plan do you need to be on in order to turn on SaaS mode in high level? Now, with high level, you've got 3 plans. You've got the $97 a month, the $297 a month, and the $497 a month. Now, there are elements of SaaS mode that you can do with the middle plan, the $297 a month, but if you really want to do this properly, then I cannot recommend enough that you go for the $497. First of all, the $497 plan gets you the full SaaS configurator, and what that enables you to do is it means that you can set all of your pricing plans, you can select which features go into each plan, you can also add on extra things like WhatsApp or AI employee or all of these things like this, and it's so easy for someone to purchase that subscription with you. They automatically get sent their login details and everything works like clockwork. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So the SaaS configurator is a real key part of it, but there's another thing that's also really important. So with high level, we obviously get billed for any SMS or email or phone costs that happen through our sub accounts. So that's the same whether you're on the $97 plan, the $297 or the $497. Now on the $97 plan, if you've given a sub account to a client and they start sending all of these emails, then you have to pay that. You have to pay the costs and you can't offset that to them. With the $297 plan, you can actually offset those charges to your clients. So for example, whatever cost they incur through SMS, email or phone, you can actually rebill that. So high level will still charge you for them, but you can actually rebill it and charge them for whatever their usage is. So that's a great way of doing it. But with the $497 plan, it actually enables you to add a markup on it. So for example, this is terrible maths. If it costs you 10 cents to send a text message, then you can actually put a markup on it, and then you could charge the client 15 cents, for example, and you are going to make a small profit on every single SMS or email that is sent out. Now, you can only add that markup on the $497 plan. So there was a real benefit for that. In a second, I'll show you how this actually adds up in my own business. And this is a really strong revenue stream for me just through these rebilling costs. So in a nutshell, if you want a white label high level and you want to do this properly in proper SaaS mode, then the 497 plan is the one for you. But honestly, I really can't believe that I can have an entire SaaS platform for 497 a month. It doesn't make any sense because it actually enables me to create whatever kind of profit I want from that. Okay, so let's start with the biggest mistake that people make when they are launching their SaaS. They build the software first and then they think about the market later. But we are going to completely reverse that. So let's define your positioning. Now, the biggest mistake that people make when they're launching their SaaS business is they start with features. They start thinking about dashboards and automations and pipelines and AI tools and fancy logins, and they completely ignore the one thing that actually determines whether this works: the outcome. Now, software does not sell because it has features. Software sells because it solves a painful, expensive problem. Your users, they don't wake up in the morning and they think, oh, I really wish I had a new CRM today. They wake up thinking, I need more leads. I need more booked calls. I need a better follow-up. I need to stop losing deals. I need to save time. And your SaaS is not the product. The outcome is the product. So before we install anything, we need full clarity on what it is that you're actually selling. Now, let me tell you what I see all the time. I see so many people just downloading snapshots from everyone. They'll literally see someone and they're like, you can have the whole business in this snapshot. And then they just download it. And they basically become like snapshot hoarders. And they just think, oh, if I just download this snapshot, then it's all going to be exactly as I need it, and then my business will just grow. And they call it something generic like business growth system. And then they wonder why nobody buys it. But that's because nobody identifies with business growth system. But someone will identify with the trades quote automation system or the consultant call booking engine. Specificity creates belief. So you really want to get specific on what it is that you're offering. Now, you do not need a revolutionary idea. You need a specific problem in a specific market. If you go broad SaaS equals harder to trust. If you go niche, then niche SaaS is instant credibility, it's easier sales conversions, it's better messaging, it's lower churn. And so the narrower you go, the easier this gets. So I want to present to you the outcome positioning formula. This is where we really break down who it is that we're speaking to and the result that we're going to get them. So this formula goes like this. I help who, so this is your ideal client, achieve result. This is the one main thing that you're going to give them, not multiple things. This is one main thing that you're going to be able to achieve for them without pain. So let's just break this down a little bit more. So who is your niche? So this is your ideal client. This is the exact person that you're speaking to. Think about this as being one singular person. So don't think of it as a group of people. Think about one single person. So whenever you're doing any of your messaging, you're always thinking about speaking to one person. So then we've got the result. This is the measurable transformation. It's really important that it's a measurable transformation. So for example, you wouldn't say, I help mums become more happy. Because if you say more happy, then it's really hard to measure whether you've actually achieved that result. And in terms of creating case studies and testimonials and things like that, you want to clearly identify that you have given that person the thing that you promised them that you would. So the result is the measurable transformation, the one transformation you're going to offer them. Then we've got the pain. The pain is what they're currently struggling with. Again, what is the main thing? And when you're thinking about the pain that you're going to use in your messaging, it's important to think about the pain that they think they have. So you may believe that your ideal client needs something else. So for example, you may believe that they need a lead generation system, but their actual pain is that they have inconsistent revenue. Their actual pain is that they lay awake at night wondering how they're going to pay their wage bills the next day. So think about this pain as what they are currently struggling with and what they believe is their biggest pain point. So for example, you might say something like, I help estate agents generate 10 plus qualified seller leads per month without running expensive Facebook ads. So they are, running ads, they're really expensive. They feel that pinch every time that charge is coming out of their account. And so that could be a good one. You could say, I help coaches book 20 sales calls per month without chasing DMs. So chasing DMs is something that people absolutely hate. They hate being in the DMs. They hate, constantly being on their phone. So that could be another pain point. It could be I help local trades automate follow up so that they stop losing inbound inquiries. So, this is a really easy way. The more emotional you can get with the pain, the more that can touch on something that you know they hate, you know they're struggling with, then the stronger this positioning statement is going to be. So, I help who, your ideal client, achieve this one transformational result without the biggest pain that that ideal client is experiencing. Now, I know what's happening right now. You've got these things that are popping up in your head as I'm saying these things like go niche, go narrow, don't make it broad. And I just want to touch on that for a second because it's these thoughts that you have which are actually going to really hold you back. So we want to tackle these early on. Now, the first thing I know that is popping up is you're thinking, but the market is saturated. So maybe if I'm saying that you need to go in the construction industry, or maybe it's that you are offering chatbots or whatever it is, whatever you're thinking immediately what your niche is going to be, you might think the market is saturated. But no market is saturated when you have clear positioning. Markets are only saturated when you have vague offers. There's loads of them out there. There's so many ads popping up all the time, like we can get you more leads or we can get you more sales. And that's fine. We're not playing that game. We are playing a completely different game. And what we want to do is position you in a blue ocean. We want to get so specific and so niche that you are in your own market. So that's what we're really doing here. So don't get caught up in thinking that your market is saturated. The second thing that's popping up is I don't want to limit myself. Now, niching doesn't limit you. It actually accelerates you. It is so much easier to completely dominate a niche industry than it is to just make a little bit of a dent in this kind of overcrowded mass market. So you can actually expand later. Niching now, all this does is enables you to get that momentum and that acceleration early on. If you are trying to be known as the all-in-one tool for absolutely everybody that does everything that they would ever want, it's really hard to get it off the ground because no one really sees you as that specialist. Whereas if you niche it down and you become the best construction quote generator or whatever, or the best appointment booking software for physical therapists, whatever it is, if you can become known as the best at that, you can then expand your niche after that. You can then say, okay, at the moment I work with chiropractors, but once I've dominated that, then I'm going to open it up and go to physical therapists. So whatever it is, however you want to expand it, but you are going to get so much more traction if you actually just niche down in the beginning and then expand from there. So you are not limiting yourself in any way by niching down at the beginning, you're accelerating. And then the final thing that I know is popping up, because I hear this all the time, I'm not an expert in that niche. You don't need to be an expert in this space. I know so many people that have the biggest agencies and the biggest SaaSes in really random specific industries, and they know nothing about that. But what they do understand is they understand the workflow and the pain. They understand how to solve that specific problem with that specific thing. And that's all you need to know about. Now, for example, if you work in the chiropractic industry, you don't need to know everything about cracking someone's back and how to realign their spine and blah, blah, blah. That is a wasted skill. You don't need to know any of that. But you do need to know how to get that person leads, or how to get them more appointments, or how to increase their speed to lead time, or whatever it is that you're offering them. You don't need to be an expert in the industry. You just need to be an expert in fixing that problem for that one specific person. So here's why positioning matters more than sales. Your positioning is going to determine your messaging, your demo flow, your onboarding, your retention, your expansion, and your valuation. Now, a generic SaaS is just a tool, but a positioned SaaS is an asset. So if you don't get this positioning piece dialed in right from the beginning, you are really going to struggle with all of those points afterwards. So that's why I'm really harping on about this, and this is such an important piece that we need to work on. So if someone hears the name of your SaaS, what immediately comes to mind? If the answer is business growth, automation, AI platform, then that's way too broad. If the answer is this is for dentists, this is for agencies, that software books sales calls, that automates follow-up, then that's really, really strong. And so that's where we want to get to. Okay, so let's actually do this. I'm actually going to walk you through this outcome finder exercise, which I get everyone to do. Whenever I'm launching anything, I always go through this outcome finder. And this is a really cool ChatGPT prompt that is going to walk you through an entire exercise in order to find that one core outcome that your ideal client wants. So we're going to hop over to my screen. We're going to go through this exercise together. I'm not just going to give you the prompt and let you figure it out. We're going to do this exercise in real time. So let's jump over to it. So what we've got here is our SaaS outcome finder prompt. So this is a really long prompt that we put together, which is going to help you find that one transformational outcome for your ideal client. And it's going to ask you loads of questions. So it's not like you're going to put this prompt in and then it's just going to tell you. It's actually going to take you through an entire exercise and keep kind of poking you in order to get to the information that we want. So I'm just going to read this first couple of lines for you. You are a business consultant specializing in SaaS product offer creation and positioning. Your task is to help a user dial in a clear, measurable, singular, and highly desirable outcome they can build an offer around by white labeling Go High Level. So it's going to ask all of these questions, and you can see here, part 2, go deeper. So this isn't just a surface level ideal client avatar exercise. We're going really deep into this. So let's just copy this, put it into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is that you want to use. Okay, so this is exactly the right way to do it. We're not starting with software, we are starting with the outcome, because the truth is nobody buys Go High Level, they buy the result. Yes, ChatGPT, that is very, very true. Okay, so we're going to start with your general niche. Reply to just one of these. A few words about what you do. For example, I help estate agents, I help fitness coaches, I help marketing for dentists. So let's say here, I help, let's say, cosmetic dentists. We just need one of those. So option B could be your bio, or option C, you could paste your sales page or offer page if you have it already. So for this one, I'm just going to say, I help dentists. You'll see the rule here. We're going to go into force clarity here. If your niche is broad, I'm going to narrow it. If your offer is vague, I'm going to sharpen it. If your idea sounds cool but won't sell, I'll say so. Thank you very much, ChatGPT. So your general niche is cosmetic dentist. That's strong already. Why is this a good niche? High customer value, high ticket treatments, blah, blah, blah. So let's niche in. Because cosmetic dentist is still too broad to build a SaaS offer around, remember the riches are in the niches, or if you're English, then that phrase doesn't work because we say niches. We need to narrow it into a more profitable sublane. So best subcategories to focus on, and these are ranked. Invisalign clinics, composite bonding clinics, smile makeover clinics, veneers clinics. Who do we want to go for? I mean, I'd always recommend going for the highest ranked ones. So let's go for this one. And then you'll move. Pick one of these to go deeper. You can also merge two. So if there's two of them, you're like, I quite like this one, I quite like this one. For example, Invisalign clinics and composite bonding clinics, they typically go together. So you could put those two together. Best overall, Invisalign clinics. It's always going to tell you what it recommends. Locked in. Thank you very much. Invisalign clinics is a very smart lane. Let's go deeper. What result do Invisalign clinics want most? Get more Invisalign consultations booked, convert more Invisalign leads into paid patients, reactivate old Invisalign leads, respond to new Invisalign leads instantly. I would say most of them. I mean, I know a lot of dentists are already running traffic. The big ones are, I've worked with a dental clinic before, but let's just go with their top pick every time. And let's copy and paste that in. I love a capital letter. We help Invisalign clinics get more consultations booked. It's not fully dialed in yet. Where are the bookings coming from? How fast? What time frame do we want them? And do we want this to be more leads, better lead conversion, faster follow-up? So let's go deeper. Round 2. Which type of more consultations do you want to own? Turn more new Invisalign inquiries into book consultations. Book more Invisalign consultations from website visitors. Book more Invisalign consults from Instagram and Facebook DMs. Book more Invisalign consults from missed calls and unanswered calls. I would say, let's just go with the first one every time. You don't have to go with the first one every time, but as I said, this is just for the purpose of the exercise. Boom. Love this. I actually feel like I'm chatting to my mate. Your current offer direction is help Invisalign clinics turn more new inquiries into booked consultations. Let's go deeper. Let's tighten the actual promised results. Book more Invisalign consults in 30 days. Turn more new Invisalign leads into booked consults in 6 weeks. You see they're giving a time frame. This is a really important part of the transformational promise. Increase Invisalign consultation booking rate in 60 days. Let's just go with the first one. Very punchy, fast, attractive, and easy to market. I still think we can go deeper with this, to be honest. Love this. I'm going to challenge you slightly. This is where the magic happens. Right now, you've chosen book more Invisalign consults in 30 days. Let's sharpen this into a money-making promise. It's still not specific enough. Book 10 plus Invisalign consults in 30 days. Book 15 to 25 Invisalign consults. So this would depend on the type of client you're looking for. So if you are looking for big cosmetic dentist clinics, for example, I worked with one on Harley Street, which in the UK is like the biggest place for dental clinics. And they were turning over millions per year. So, for example, if I knew that that's who I wanted to work with, 10 plus Invisalign consults in 30 days is not going to be attractive to them. If it's 15 to 25 or 20 plus, without more ad spend. So this is a really good one, I think. So if I think about this particular client I was working with, they were spending a lot on ads and they weren't converting them. So I would say, oh, this is an interesting one, or we keep working for free. I actually did use that guarantee with that client. I think without more ad spend, because these people are freaking out about the amount. A lot of them are spending money on like Google ads and things, and it's not really converting the way it used to. So they don't want to do that even more. The strong marketing hook. But I'm going to be honest. It's probably too aggressive as your core promise for most clinics. Why? Because 20 plus sounds sexy on paper, but it creates 3 problems. Believability drops, delivery pressure goes up massively, and you may be promising wrong variable. Okay, cool. I'm glad that it's challenging me. My consultant recommendation, don't lead with the most exciting promise. Lead with the strongest believable promise. Okay, this is good. Best refined version, book 10 to 20 more Invisalign consults in 30 days without more ad spend. I like this one. Let's go with that. Because you want this to be believable. You also want to make sure that if you are offering any kind of guarantee, like we'll work for free, if we don't hit it, you want to make sure that you can actually hit it. And then part 3, avatar, optional but powerful. Do you want to serve all Invisalign clinics, or do you want to narrow down for a specific type of clinic? This is optional. You do not always need to narrow further. But for example, so you could go further and say this is just for the UK. This is just private cosmetic dentists. This is high end. This is clinics that are already running ads. I would say I'm going to go with clinics that are already running ads, because that tells me that they've got money to spend and they understand spending money on marketing. And they don't want to keep spending the money that they're spending if they're not converting enough into sales. So that's who I want. That indicates to me that that is someone who's willing to spend money and they're not a startup practice. So that's what we're going to go with. This is actually a very sellable SaaS angle. Thank you very much. So, summary, your niche, Invisalign clinics, your avatar, clinics already running ads, your core outcome, book 10 to 20 more Invisalign consults, your time frame, 30 days, your hook without more ad spend. What this really means in plain English is that you're not selling software, you're selling better conversion from existing lead flow. Fine tuning the continuum. Now, let's pressure test this properly. So, book 5 to 10 more Invisalign consults in 14 days. Book 5 to 10 more Invisalign consults in 21 to without spending more ad spend. What does it tell me? Book 10 plus more Invisalign consults in 30 days or more without more ad spend. If you want the highest close rate, I'd go for this one. I love this. So safest, highest close rate is this one. The strongest and hardest hitting is this one. I would say, let's just play it safe this time. Sometimes it's better to play it safe at first if you don't know your deliverables yet. If you haven't proven your method, you can always start off with this one. And then as you know the results that you're getting and you can prove it and you've got case studies, you could then tighten it up even more and then go for a stronger, harder hitting one. I'm going to go with this one. Perfect. That is our final positioning. This is what you need to sell. We help Invisalign clinics already running ads book 10 plus more consultations in 30 days without spending more on ads. Boom! That is so much better than I work with dentists, isn't it? Love that. So you can go even deeper into this. You can now say, what would I price for this? Can you help me with the pricing structure of it? But love this. This gives me so much clarity. You're already ahead of 95% of the people already, because you've got that clarity. So just say next and tell me what you want to build next. So you can carry on and go through this exercise and really use this as a tool to kind of help ideate with you as you're going back and forth. I think that's probably one of the hardest things whenever you're launching anything, is the kind of back and forth in your own head. Whereas with this, it's already dialed in. It knows that you're trying to build a SaaS offer, and this can really help you get clarity on that. So Thank you very much, ChatGPT. We will be taking that. Now, this is where most people sabotage their SaaS. They price it like a freelancer. So they look at what others are charging, they feel a little bit uncomfortable, and then they pick the lowest number that feels safe. Now, safe pricing creates fragile businesses. So you might be thinking now, well, what do I charge? How do I do this? Now, this depends on how you answer these two questions. First of all, who are you serving? And second of all, how much is it worth to them to get this one problem solved? So for example, if you are serving someone who is brand new, if you're serving like a startup founder, for example, what they're going to be able to pay for something and the value that they're going to see is much lower than someone that has like a $5 million business. But also, if you are serving someone whose price of their offering is much lower, then again, they're going to see the value as different. So if your ideal client sells solar panels, for example, even just by getting them 2 new sales by the systems that you build for them or by what your software enables them to do, that is going to be worth so much more than the price they pay for the subscription. So you could even charge $297, $497, even $897. They're still going to be getting a huge ROI on what they're spending with you. But if what they sell is protein bars, for example, then they're going to need to sell a lot of protein bars in order to get the value out of the subscription that they're paying you. So what you charge really depends on who you are serving and how much it is worth to them. You are not selling software. You're selling an outcome. So if your SaaS helps a coach book 10 extra calls per month, for example, and their close rate is 30%, and their offer is $2,000, then if you work that out, that's potentially $6,000 in new revenue. And you're nervous about charging $97. So let's just go through the value anchoring formula. Now, the price should reflect the value created, not the time invested, not the tool cost, not the competitor fear. Your cost of Go High Level is irrelevant. The time building the snapshot is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is what is it worth to them. So let's just break down the psychology of pricing. Let's look at friction versus commitment. Now, lower prices reduce friction, which is great, but they also reduce commitment. Higher prices increase attention and they also increase usage as well. So now let's look at monthly versus annual. Most people would typically offer both options. I do in mine. Now, monthly is great because it's accessible for people, especially if people are, scared of making the investment or they're just starting out, then monthly is a really great way of getting their foot in the door. But annual is great for your cash flow. So you get that upfront amount where you can then reinvest that into your business. And you're also going to get a higher level of commitment. If someone is committed to an annual plan with you, they are locked in and they are really going to make the most out of this. So for example, if you were offering it at $297 per month, then the annual plan you could do at $2,997. So you would typically do 10 months worth of what your monthly plan is, and you offer a discount as an incentive for signing up for annual. Now, some people might think, does it not seem a little bit desperate, like you're trying to get them into the annual plan? But it's just an incentive to get them to commit to something that long term. And as we know, when someone commits, they're going to get even better results. So if you're thinking about doing the monthly and the annual, that's how I would price it. Just do 10 months of the monthly price. And this can work really well to make sure that you are still accessible, but you've also got a strong cash flow lever as well. Now, when it comes to structuring your plans, there's really 2 options you can go. There's multiple options, but these are the 2 best ones that I would look at. Option 1 is that you can just go for one plan. So regardless of what features they have, you're not going to kind of feature stack it or anything like that. You're just going to go for one plan where you say everyone gets the same and they all pay the same as well. So this is really good for early stage founders. So for example, when I first launched mine, I got everyone in on a founding members offer of $97 a month. That's kind of because I kept messing around and in my head, I couldn't really make a decision. I was like, do I want to go this plan? What do I want to add into this? And I was kind of really getting into my head, trying to figure out what was the best option. And then in the end, I was just like, do you know what? Let's just give it all away for one price as a founding member, and then we can get to that later on. And that really helped me get it off the ground and just get moving. So it's really good for early stage, especially if you want to package it as like a founding member offer. This is also really good if you've got a really clear niche. So I know people that sell their SaaS and all they sell is like the reviews section of Go High Level. They're not even talking about funnels and all of that stuff. They're literally only selling that one feature. So if you're only selling one feature, for example, it's really easy to say, look, for this feature, this is the price of it, because you're not actually stacking features within different plans. You're not saying, but if you upgrade to this, then you get this extra feature, because they're only selling one feature anyway. So it's really good if you've got got a super, super clear niche like that. It's also good if you just offer one outcome. So again, like I said about the reviews, or maybe it's that you're just selling, the chatbot feature, or maybe you're just selling the email marketing. I've actually seen this a lot in the med spa niche. People will sell the SaaS and all they're selling is a system that just gets more appointments booked on that person's booking calendar. And they're not actually selling all the other features and stuff like that. They're just selling one system. So again, it's a really simple outcome that they're selling. So for example, it could be $197 a month, and this is a full automation platform for estate agents. Or it could be, as I did before, mine was $97 a month, and it was the full automation platform for coaches and course creators. So that's a really nice way of doing it, keeping it simple. If you are procrastinating and just getting in your head about pricing and that kind of aspect feels quite overwhelming, then it's a really good place to start. Option 2, though, is that you can do 3 tiers. Now, this can be one of the most powerful ways of doing it, especially if you are going all in with this as a SaaS and you really want to focus on extending the lifetime value of customers and creating a kind of ascension model where they might come in on the basic plan and then they upgrade and then they upgrade and lots of things like that. So it's obviously a little bit more complex to set up, but it can be really good. Now, the reason why 3 pricing packages work really well is that we actually incorporate something called anchor-based pricing. And with anchor-based pricing, what we're basically doing is you pick the price that you would love to sell it for. So for example, $297, and then you create a package that's just below that, but only a little bit below that. So it feels like, well, I might as well just upgrade to the middle package because I get so much more for just a little bit more money. And then you have a much higher tier, which makes them think like, no, that middle price is really good value for money. You only get a little bit extra if you go to the higher one. So this is anchor-based pricing, where you're basically psychologically positioning the plans so that most people choose that middle one. So if you decide this is what I really want to sell it for, I really want to sell it for $297, for example, you're going to anchor the other packages around it so that most people choose that. So for example, the starter plan, you might have the core system. So all like the main features that come with that software, things like funnels, calendars, automations, workflows, all of that kind of stuff. But you can actually limit the users. So you might say you can only have one user on this one, which means that if they have a team, they're naturally going to need to go for the higher plan. But you could also do limited contacts, for example. So you might say they get 5,000 contacts, but if they have 7,000 contacts, then that means they need to go for the next one. So that's how you could kind of control that plan. The middle plan might be pro. So this is going to be like the full system. For example, with your SaaS, this could be like they get the AI employee with it. You might say that they get WhatsApp with it, and they're going to get extra priority support. So they have the full system, they have extra priority support, they're going to get more users. Maybe they get 5 users on this plan. And then also they're going to get more contacts as well. They could have extra automations and anything that you want to add into here. And then you might have the third plan, which we could just call scale or elite or whatever it is you want to call it. So this is where you might have like a white glove setup. This is like a much more in-depth onboarding process that those clients get to go through. They have custom integrations. So maybe if they have other platforms that they're using, you could link it in with them for them. They might have direct strategy calls with you, whether that's a group call or whether it's a one-to-one every kind of quarter with you. But most revenue tends to come from the middle tier. So if you want to do those 3, first of all, think about what you would most like to sell this for, and then anchor the other plans around that. Now, don't get caught up in all the different features that are going to go into each of these plans, because this process becomes much easier when we do the actual SaaS setup and we get into the SaaS configurator, because you can literally toggle things on and toggle things off, and it's really easy to structure these plans. For now, just think about what you would like to price it as and how you would like to cap it. Do you want to cap it by number of users? Do you want to cap it by features? Do you want to cap it by the support or the contacts that are available? So just have a little think about that and just start brainstorming whether you just want to do one fixed price just to start with, or whether you want to launch with these 3 tiers. It's completely up to you. Now, if you actually go over to my website, you can see how I've done this. So if you go to madeformore.ai, you can see that I've got 3 tiered pricing plans, and you can kind of see how I've broken mine up. So if you want to have a little nosy over there, you can see how I've done it. I change this all the time though. This has changed multiple times since I've launched. So again, don't think that whatever you do right in the beginning is like set in stone and you can't customize it. Every time you can just go into the SaaS configurator and change it about, and you can play around until you find your sweet spot. So for example, say your middle plan that you want to do it at is $197 a month, Or say you just want to sell it for 197, you're not even going to do 3 tiers. If you had 20 people paying 197, that's 3,940 a month. If you had 50 users that were paying 197, that's 9,850 a month. If you had 100 users paying 197, that's 19,700 a month. So you see that it starts to become really clear. This isn't fantasy pie in the sky numbers. This is just simple maths. So if you set this up properly, at 100 users, your stress should not increase by 5 times. That's the great thing about SaaS. As your business grows, your workload doesn't, if you do it right. And I'm going to talk more about that when we come to the onboarding a little bit later on in this video. So right now, a number of things are popping up in your head. Whenever we get on the subject of pricing, that's when the mind monkeys start going crazy and they're like, just piping up, just talking all sorts of rubbish at you. So let's just tackle these straight away. The first one is, I don't feel confident charging that. Now, confidence does not come before pricing. Confidence comes after selling. It's always uncomfortable the first time you put a price out. And when it comes to pricing, I think so much of pricing is energetic. So I've been in coaching programs before when I started out in my career, and I was in one and she was really like high ticket. And she did that whole thing of like, oh, if you don't pay a lot of money for a coaching program, you will never be able to charge a lot for your coaching program. And anyway, she was all about like just the highest ticket you could possibly do. And I'd never charged anything like that before. And I remember her saying, for your program, what are you going to sell it for? And I was like, I don't know. I think I was going to do it for like maybe 2,000 or something. She was like, no, 15,000. I was like, what? I cannot sell it for $15,000. What are you talking about? And that literally made my skin crawl. Like I just died inside when she said it. And she was like, no, you need to know your worth, Carly. You need to, put yourself out there and you need to charge your worth. And I kind of had this moment of like, yeah, like feeling like Beyonce going into my first sales call. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to charge high. And I did a really good call and we got on really well and we spoke about everything. And at the end, I was like, yeah, so it's $15,000. And I felt so uncomfortable saying it. And I literally just wanted to like die and crawl under the desk. And I felt so energetically unaligned with that price. And I'd just done it because she'd told me that I needed to, but I felt so uncomfortable. I'd gone from charging like $200 for my services to $15,000 for my services. And it was too much of a jump. And I just felt really uncomfortable. So what I always say to my students now is that the price that you charge should feel like a bit of a stretch. Like it should feel like, like a little bit more than I would normally go, but it shouldn't feel so uncomfortable that you literally want to crawl under the desk and die, because that energy is always going to come across in your sales call. Now, you do want to have confidence in the price that you're saying. You don't want to talk yourself out of it. So much pricing is kind of playing around with what feels good for you, but also what matches the value of what it is that you're offering. So remember, even though this has only cost you $497 a month with Whitelabel in order to get access to this platform and white label it, don't think about that. Don't think about anyone else that you're outsourcing this to or the costs or anything like that. Think about the problem that you're solving for that person. What's the relative price to that? Okay, so let's talk about setup fees. Now, some people choose to do setup fees. This is probably more typical if you have an agency as well. You don't have to do setup fees. It's completely up to you. When I first started out, I didn't. So I started my business just as SaaS. I had no agency that was attached to it. And I really had no reason to do a setup fee. I wasn't building any kind of huge infrastructure for them. I was installing a snapshot. We did that on an onboarding call and it was quite a simple setup. If you are, for example, building them an entire chatbot, and you need to build out the knowledge base, and you need to integrate some other tools for them and whatever it is, if there are certain things that really do require quite a lot of setup, then you are absolutely fine to charge a setup fee. And actually, it can be really good for your cash flow. So charging a setup fee is not greed. If anything, it acts as like a commitment filter. You're really not getting the people anymore that are just signing up for a trial, having a little play about, seeing how it goes. You're getting people now that are signing up and they're committed to seeing this out to see whether this works. So you're going to get a much more committed customer base if you do charge a setup fee. Also, if you do decide that you want to run ads later on, this can actually liquidate the cost of your ad spend, which can be really good. And it can be a really positive thing. But as I said, I would only look at doing a setup fee if genuinely you are setting up something for them. If they're just signing up and they're getting a simple snapshot, I probably wouldn't do it. But if there is actual work involved that you need to do for them, then definitely do a setup fee. So for example, you might do something like the subscription is $297 a month, and then you might do a $497 setup fee. Or you might do $297 a month and you do a free setup for beta users. So if you are going to do a setup fee like that, then what you could do is actually leverage the fact that you have this setup fee and use it kind of like a beta bonus for people to sign up as a beta tester for your software in the beginning, and use it as an incentive to get them to sign up now instead of waiting until later on. So for example, you might do something like it's $297 a month and they're going to get a free setup if they are a beta tester in this first 30 days. So what you're going to do is actually waive the setup strategically and not emotionally. When you do have a setup fee, it does give you a little bit more wiggle room to play around with promotions, incentives. Maybe you might do a Black Friday offer, for example, where it's like, if you sign up today, then we're going to waive the setup fee. Kind of like what gyms do. Like every January, there's a whole like brand new promo where it's like, oh, if you join in January, then you don't have to pay a sign-up fee. So it does give you a little bit of wiggle room for how you can play around with promotions, but only add it in if it makes sense to you. Now, pricing determines the type of customers that you attract. You really want to think about this properly. If you go cheap, you're going to get high churn, because actually it's really low risk and low commitment to sign up for a $97 subscription. So they could try it out. If they try it for a month or 2 months or 3 months and they decide actually it's not really for me, then it's quite easy to just step away from that and not feel like they've lost a lot of money. So you're going to get more people churning. You're going to get a lower kind of caliber of client in terms of their commitment. And I just find that the caliber of customer when you go really cheap is completely different. So for example, when I launched with my founding members offer, the people that joined on the $97 plan are completely different to the people that joined later on the $297 plan. And I would much rather have less of the $297 than loads of the $97, because the $97s were much more of a headache. They were more demanding. They wanted more. And I would just much rather have more of those. So if you go cheap, that's what you get. If you go premium, you get much lower churn. If someone has signed up and they paid $497 a month with you, and after 3 months' time, they're questioning, I've just seen this other tool over there, I've just seen this other platform, maybe I want to jump ship and move over there. If they've already spent near on $1,500 with you, they're going to think about that decision much more. And they're probably going to say, do you know what? I've already come so far with this. Let me just see if I can make this work. So you're going to get much lower churn, much higher engagement. When someone pays for something, they pay attention. And I always find that the people just embrace the platform so much more once they've paid more. Stronger referrals, because they are more committed to the process, which means that the results are even better, which means that they refer it to even more people. And also they usually refer it to a similar type of business owner. And overall, I just find it's a much better experience when I'm dealing with those clients that are much more committed and are willing to pay. Now, a cheap SaaS feels like a tool. And in the age of AI, where these cheap SaaSes are just popping up all the time, there's going to be so many people signing up for $47, $27, $97 over here. But a premium SaaS feels like an advantage. A premium SaaS feels like it's an actual piece of infrastructure that they can add into the ecosystem of their business, and it's going to be a real part of their strategy moving forward. Okay, so now that you know who this is for and what outcome it delivers, we can install the system, because installing software without positioning is just like installing complexity, or just like throwing it in. So let's build this properly. So this is the part where most people panic, because when they hear install SaaS system, their brain translates that to, oh my God, this is so technical, this is complicated, I'm not a very techie person, and don't worry about that. I want to reframe this immediately. So we are not building software, we are installing infrastructure, and there is a massive difference. Now, software building is developers, it's code, it's months of product cycles, but infrastructure installation is basically just selecting the right architecture and turning it on. And that's what Go High-Level allows us to do. They literally just give you this kind of software in a box that says, there you go, just jazz it up and brand it up, and now you're ready to go. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Go High-Level is the engine, your snapshot is the blueprint, and your positioning is the packaging. So right now we're going to be installing the engine and the blueprint. Okay, so let's get you set up. So the first thing you want to do is come into your high level account. As I said, you want to be on the 497 plan ideally. Come into your high level account, and then you're going to be in the agency account for it. And then come down to settings, then go to company, and then you're going to jump over to where it says white label here. So here is where you can put the name of your white label, so the name of your company. Here is where you can put your domain. So you want to get the domain for your business, and you want to have something like, I have app, so app.madeformore.ai as the white label domain here. You can either purchase that directly through High Level if you want to, or you can purchase it from somewhere else, and then you're going to click migrate domain, and then that's going to move that in. So you'll have an option here. Mine are already in there, but yours will look slightly different, and you can put in your details there and bring that in. You don't have to have an API domain. Obviously put your privacy policy there in your terms and conditions, and you don't need to worry about any of this. This is for other stuff that I have set up, but you don't need to worry about any of that. So the settings that you need to set up is just your logo and your domain. And then of course, in the basic details, you're going to have all of your other stuff set up as well. So that's as standard, that's just setting up your high level account, but you want to make sure that this is also all filled out as well. So now we want to go over to the fun bit, which is the SaaS configurator. So let's go back, let's go to the SaaS configurator. And this is where you get to build your SaaS plan. So someone can go on, they can purchase for a SaaS plan. You can set up whatever features you want in each plan, how you want to price it. Do you want to add a free trial? All of that good fun stuff. And this is where you can set it up. So when you first come in here, you can see here, I've got loads of different plans. So these are different currencies that I've got set up and different trials and lots of bits and bobs like that. But when you come in, you will have 3 pre-populated plans. You'll have like a starter, a pro, and then like an agency level or something like that. So what you can do here is you can actually add your plan. Now you can add a category if you want. It's worth noting that if you want to have SaaS plans that have a different currency, so for example, I went through a stage of charging in Great British pounds. You can't have one plan that's dollars and one plan that's pounds. It has to be the same currency within a category. So this is why I have UK plans here, and then I have my main plans. I now just charge in dollars because I find universally it works a lot better, and I have clients all over the world. But if you do want to have it in different plans, you just need to make sure that here you add a new category, and then you put all of those specific currencies in one category. So what we can do is we can go to add your plan. You're going to choose your payment processor, and you're going to connect with Stripe. So Stripe is the only way that you can connect with this SaaS configurator. You're going to click on that and continue to create plan. Now here, you're going to put your plan name. So you might say something like starter, or you might say, let's just say this one is going to be founding members. And then you can put a description if you want to. This is just like an internal description. It's not something that's going to be seen by everyone else. So I'm just going to put in founding members. $97, for example. Perfect. And then we're going to click next. So then we're going to go down to category. So this is again where I said you've got main plans, you might have different currencies or things like that. Now for this, I'm actually just going to create a new category just so that it doesn't mess up any of my ones. I'm going to choose the currency and we're going to put it in here. So let's select the test one. Here we go. So I don't have any plans in here right now. If I just jump over to now here, you can see these are all the plans that I've got within this category. And what you can do is you can move them around. So you can say this one is going to be higher, this one's going to be lower. And basically when you come to select the features later on, it will already know the features that you've given to the plan below. And then it will offer you the extra features that you want to add on after that. So this order does matter. So it does matter that you put the lowest plan there, then the next plan, then the next plan, then the next plan. So for now, let's just do test plans. We've got our founding members here, and then we're going to click next. So for this founding members plan, I'm going to do $97, and then it's going to be $970. I'm going to add a user limit on it. If you don't select this on, it will be unlimited users, but I'm going to add a user limit of 3 users. Oh, here we go, 3 users. Then I'm also going to add a contact limit. So I'm going to say on the $97 plan, you can only have 1,000. This is really annoying, by the way. If it doesn't let you do it, just write it in and then delete the first one. And I'm going to say 1,000 contacts because really I want them to upgrade to the higher plans. So we've got that set. And then we're going to click next. Then this is where you can attach a snapshot. So if you have your one transformational promise snapshot, something that you're going to have that's already going to be pre-built inside their account for them, this is where you can attach that snapshot. So I imagine that you know how to do snapshots, but basically you'll create a sub account, build out whatever it is that you want to have as a kind of like a demo account, and then you can create a snapshot based off that particular sub account. So snapshot here, and then also any custom menu links. So for example, if there's something that you want in this account that isn't kind of standard for everyone, then you can add custom menu links here, and you can put in the link and all of those bits like that. So these are the features that are automatically populated in it, but I might say, I don't want to offer that, I don't want to offer that, I don't want to offer that, I don't want to offer that. All I want to offer is invoicing, Launchpad, and email marketing. That would be a pretty crap plan, but let's just say it's just that. Then when we go to the next time that we build a plan and that plan is more expensive, it's going to show us all of the other features that we can add. But you can see there, you just literally toggle on all the features that you want. Now here, this is where you can add on more things. So you might say that in this plan, I want to include AI employee. That means that you're going to be billed and your client or your customer is not going to be billed extra for that. So for example, you could say, I want to add this in and I want to add in WhatsApp. So in my middle plan, I offer WhatsApp. So this is where you can toggle that on. You may say, nah, in the founding members plan, I'm not going to offer any of this, but in the next plan, I am going to offer AI employee. It's completely up to you. So then you click next. Then marketplace apps. This is again, more apps and more add-ons that you can add if you want to. As I said, go easy on these in the beginning. Don't add loads of things on. You can always add these on later. You can come back into the SaaS configurator and add in any of these things into the plan. So for now, I personally would just keep that blank. So then we can go, do we want to activate a trial period? If you don't, just toggle that off. If you do, you might say, do I want it to be 7 days? Do I want it to be 14 days? Do I want it to be 30 days? You might have a specific plan that offers a 30-day trial. So again, you can just add an additional SaaS plan if you want to, and you can play around with these trial things. And then here is where you can add credit on sign up. So obviously we know that our clients are going to get billed. As a SaaS agency owner, you can rebill your clients and you can also make a profit on the rebilling. So emails, SMS, AI employees, stuff like that. So what you can do if you want to is add a little bit of credit so that the first $10 per month, for example, you actually cover, and then anything after that they cover. I quite like to do this. So for my founding members, I did something like $10. You could do $20, whatever it is that you want to offer. As the plans go higher, I tend to offer more credits, and this can just be a one-time credit, kind of like a bonus for signing up, or it can be a recurring credit. So it can say every single month I'm going to give you $10 towards your email and your SMS costs. You can then also toggle on rollover unused complimentary credits to the next month. I personally wouldn't do this. I just say that they expire every month, because otherwise you could have someone who has accrued, $200 worth of credits, and then they start really ramping up loads of emails. So I personally don't do that. I have that kept off, but I do recurring credits. So then we go next, and this is where we go rebilling. This is where the fun stuff happens. So you can see here the phone system, you can put a markup on it. So if we say here, the charge is 0.14 cents per minute. What's charged to the customer is 0.147. $10 will give you about 680 minutes. So the profit is going to be 0.007 per minute. That's if it's based on a 1.05 times multiple. Now you can actually add this up as high as you want to go, and you can see the profit is going to get higher and higher. Now, don't underestimate how much this can add to your revenue stream. I'll show you a little bit later on how much rebilling actually adds to my revenue. It can be really, really profitable, but only if you get the charges right. Now, in the UK, the charges are actually a lot higher than in the US. So if you're in the UK, I wouldn't put this too high, because your clients are going to be getting billed a lot, and you're going to be getting messages like, why are you charging me so much for email? So I would typically say anything between 1.2 and 2 is about a good multiple. So if you're in the UK, I'd go on the lower end. If you're in the US, I'd go on the higher end. But that's kind of where you want to get to. And then you can see this is for the phone reselling system. You can then toggle on email and do the same for email. What markup do you want to have on that? I would recommend adding a bit of a markup. Even if you're not thinking that you want to make this a real profitable revenue stream for you, I would add on a bit of a markup just so that you cover your Stripe fees. You don't want to have this too low, but you're going to end up out of pocket once Stripe take their fees. So I would at least do 1.2, but I think I typically do about 1.5 here in the UK. And then again, as I said, you can go down, you can do this for workflow AI features, you can do it for content AI, reviews AI, all of those things, and add your markup on. So then we go to finish. And you will see, if I now go into my category, if I go into test plans, and I go to apply, you can see we've got our founding members one there. And this is where you can come in and manage anything as well. So if you ever want to come back in, you can see that the snapshot's attached there, or if it's not attached, if you ever want to come back in and go to edit details, you can come in, you can add features, any of those things that we've just gone through, they're all adjustable. So you can always come back into that. And then you can also come here and you can delete the plan as well. So you can see we've got a 30-day trial, $10 complimentary credits, and you can see everything that you want there. Now, if we go to advanced settings, these are certain things like, do you want to suspend the sub account if their SaaS subscription fails? I definitely recommend that you keep this turned on. It's a really great way of managing your subscriptions and you're not getting loads of admin things, and it literally will stop their account if their subscription fails. Allow sub account admins to upgrade their subscription, so you can do that if you want to. For sub-account onboarding, it will either use the customer's name, so it would say something like Carly Myers sub-account, or you can toggle it so that it uses the company name and it will ask them to put in their company name once they do that. You can also customize your welcome email here. So if you view it, this is what's coming out first of all. They're going to get sent all of their login details and things like that. But you can customize any of these logos, colors, all of that stuff. The next thing is security. So you can, if you want to, have it so that you have to review new accounts that are added. So someone will sign up and then you have to basically accept it. I personally wouldn't do that. If someone wants to sign up to it, that's great. And you can also do two-factor authentication to verify the phone number if you want to. But if you do want to do it, if you do want to have it so that they request to start a sub account and you want to approve it, then this is where your new request will show. If we go to configure, this is where you can configure SaaS mode with other payment providers. So if you don't want to use Stripe, if you want to use something like NMI, Authorize, or Square, this is where you can configure all of the different payment processors. Here we've got cancellation settings. So this is really cool. So you can say allow clients or account admins to cancel their subscription. Some people don't like to do this. Some people like to have it so that they need to email in and say, I would like to cancel, because it gives them an opportunity to, hopefully talk them into staying. But if you do want to turn this on, there are actually some cool features. So you can turn this on and you can then have it so that a survey goes out to them and asks why they cancelled. So you can actually start to get some feedback on why people are leaving, and that's really going to help you obviously reduce churn moving forward. You can also offer a discount offer. So if someone cancels, you can actually go back to them and say, hey, instead of cancelling, do you want to try a plan at 50% off for 3 months? You could do something like that in order to try and keep them, get them more embedded onto the platform, and then hopefully they'll stay with you longer. You can also redirect to an external page if you want to. So if there's a different offer, perhaps they don't want to use this one, but there's another offer that you have or another coaching program or something like that, you can redirect them to a different page. Perhaps it's got a video from you which is saying, hey, so sorry that you want to leave, and you could have a video that's kind of talking them into staying. So loads of cool things there. There's actually really good tools in place. This wasn't here when I started my SaaS, which is why I don't have it turned on, but it's very, very cool that you can have this now. And then you can go to downgrade settings as well. So again, if someone wants to downgrade, that same survey can pop up and say, why is it that you want to downgrade? Again, we can redirect them to somewhere else and we can offer that discount offer as well. So that is your SaaS setup. Really, really simple. It is worth its weight in gold to sign up for the 497 plan, just for the fact that literally in about an hour, you can be fully set up with everything that you need to start getting people onboarded and charging their subscriptions.
Okay, so let's install your snapshot. So in the description of this video, you will see a link that says download all the resources. Once you click that link, it's going to take you to a page like this. So you've got all the resources that I mentioned in this video. You've got the SaaS outcome finder we spoke about, the snapshot link, which I'm going to go through now, the MRR tracker, which I'll go through a little bit later, and the 7-day activation framework. So this is all part of your onboarding. Now, what we're going to do is open up the snapshot link, and I just want to show you a couple of things. Now, if you open this link and you are not part of High Level already, it's going to take you to this page here. And you can see on this button, it says 14-day free trial. Now, if you click my affiliate link, which is this one here, it's actually going to give you a 30-day free trial. So what I would recommend doing is, if you're not already a member of High Level, then click to sign up for your trial first, set up your account, and then come back and add this snapshot link, because it means that you're going to be able to have the snapshot and you're going to have a 30-day free trial. If you're already a member of High Level, then make sure that you're logged into your agency account, and you need to be in the agency tab. And what's going to happen then is, when you click that snapshot link, you're going to get a screen that looks like this, and it's going to say, do you want to import this snapshot to the account? Click yes, import now, and then you're going to see that it's going to get added. You'll see a whole list of things that are part of that snapshot, and then you just want to install all of them. So that's really, really simple to do. Once you've got that all set up, once you've got your account set up with High Level, make sure you click that import snapshot link from the resources tab, and then you are good to go.
Okay, so I've done this long enough now to know that when it comes to the technical aspect and the little technical section of my tutorials, this is where people start to freak out and all the things start popping up in their head, these limiting beliefs and things like that. So right now, some of you are thinking, this still feels overwhelming. I get it. But it only feels overwhelming because it's new. Have you ever done something that you do now? Like, think back to something that you do now that you once thought was so uncomfortable. But now it's just part of your everyday. You do it so much, it just becomes part of it, and it now feels really comfortable. And that's the exact same thing as this. You are going to be spending so much time in this space. You are literally going to be spending most of your days inside this SaaS platform and playing around with things. So I promise you, in about a week to 2 weeks, all of this is going to feel so comfortable. But it doesn't right now, because I am just literally vomiting loads of information on you. And you're like, there's so much to think about, there's so much to do. But it's all good. Every single day that we do this, you're going to get more comfortable with the little things that we're talking about, until at one point you're going to think, yeah, this is just obvious. I find this so easy now. So don't stress about that. It's just because this really intense tutorial is giving you everything in one go. So just take a breath. Remember that right now you are doing things in your life that at one time felt completely scary and out of your comfort zone. By the way, like parenting, when I first held my baby, I was like, oh my God. I remember when the nurse came around and she was like, okay, it's time to feed the baby. And I was like, oh yeah, we do need to feed the baby, don't we? That is an actual thing. And now, obviously, I don't even think twice. Of course I need to feed my children. But these are all things that happen all the time. And, as days go on, you get more and more comfortable. So you are not required to master the entire platform. All you are required to do is to understand your positioning and the revenue flow. There is still so much that I don't know about Go High Level. There is still so much that I don't know about SaaS, but I know enough that I've been able to help my clients do what they need to do and turn it into a business. So don't stress about that. The second thing that I know that's popping up is, what if I break something? You are not going to break anything. Believe me, I've tried. I have pressed so many buttons and I've really put this through the ringer. I've literally uploaded stuff, downloaded stuff, imported stuff, added random APIs that shouldn't even be linked to anything. And I've really given it a good go and I haven't broken it. But remember, anything that you do is completely reversible. So even if we install the snapshot and you totally mess up one of the funnels or one of the automations and you go completely rogue with it, that's fine. We just reinstall the snapshot and we go again. So don't stress about that. The fear of breaking something is way larger than the risk. Everything is reversible and you're going to be absolutely fine. And then the last thing that I know is popping up is, you need to understand every single automation. No. You don't need to understand the automation. You need to understand the outcome that it creates. The greatest thing about where we are today, like when I started mine, we didn't have anything like workflow AI or funnel AI. So I actually had to know how to build the automations. Whereas now, all you need to do is know what you want to do, and then you can just ask workflow AI to do it for you. So you might say, I need you to create me an abandoned cart sequence, or I need you to create me this. You actually don't have to know how to build these things yourself now. So you are starting this at an amazing time, and you have a huge advantage if you do genuinely believe that you're not techie. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, this actually makes sense, I actually think I could do this, then everything that we're building here runs on Whitelabel. Now, if you don't already have an account, or maybe you're on a lower plan and you're planning to upgrade for your SaaS mode, then make sure you do it through my link below, because when you join or upgrade through my link, you actually get access to my full SaaS snapshot. Everything that I'm talking about in this video, you get my launch templates, my pricing breakdowns, my demo scripts, my onboarding flows that I use, all my spreadsheets and trackers and everything like that. Now, you can absolutely build this yourself from what I'm teaching here. But if you want the shortcut, the blueprint and the ecosystem around it, then that's what the link gives you. So not only are you going to get access to all of my templates and everything like that, you're also going to get to join my community. So the Made for More community enables you to get weekly group coaching with me. You get all of my other courses, all of my other snapshots. You have direct access to me and my team. You get a one-on-one onboarding call so that we can help you get set up. And you're also going to get an extra tech clinic as well. So if you're really looking to go all the way with this and you want to feel fully supported throughout the whole process, then by joining or upgrading through my affiliate link enables you to get the most support you possibly can. So anyway, back to the build. Now, there's one mistake that almost everyone makes in the customization phase, and that quietly kills their SaaS. And I'm going to be covering that a little bit later in the video. Now, this is where most SaaS launches quietly fail. It's not with the installation, it's not at the pricing, it's right here. Because this is where people start clicking everything and then they just overbuild and they start plugging in all of this crazy stuff and it all just gets wild. Let's not make any of those mistakes and let's just do this in a really clear and simple way. Now, installing the snapshot gives you infrastructure, which is all good. Customizing it turns it into a product. Infrastructure is functional and product is emotional. Now, just think about it. People don't pay for functionality. They pay for clarity. And we are in a clarity economy at the moment. The number one thing that people are desperately searching for is clarity, and they want to see everything in a clear and simple way. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, customization does not mean completely rebuilding the system. It means aligning the system with your positioning. So let's come back to that positioning statement that we spoke about. If you said, I help estate agents generate 10 seller leads per month without paid ads, every part of the dashboard, of the funnel, of everything should reinforce that. So let's get into it.
Okay, so now you have your snapshot installed, we now want to customize it. This is where the magic happens. So you're going to have your list of snapshots here. You can see we've got SaaS snapshot new. And if you go to the plus sign here, it's going to say create new account. So this is where you're going to be able to create a new sub account. You can put your address in there. Let's just make up an address here. Put in our name. All the other details are there. Now, because this is an agency account, this isn't going to be a client account. We're going to select this one here. This is my own account. And this means that your agency will be billed for all of the kind of emails and SMSs from this account. So add sub account, select a time zone. There we go. Now that's going to go and create that account for you. So I've actually already got this installed. So I'm going to hop over into here so that I can show you everything that we've got. So first of all, we've got the dashboard. Now, your dashboard here, at the moment, it's got opportunity status, value, conversions, funnel, everything like that. We've already got a pipeline built in for you, which is your leads to sales pipeline. But if you want to customize this to see whatever you want, you can go to Edit Dashboard. And this is where you can decide which widgets you have. So maybe it's important for you to see the number of appointments that you have. Maybe it's important for you to see the number of contacts, the emails. So have a look through here and decide which ones are most important for you to see for your business in order to identify whatever these KPIs are for you. And then you can just toggle on whichever ones you want, click save, and then that's going to customize that dashboard for you. So you can see everything that's the most important for you. Then we're going to go into calendars. And when we're in calendars, you can see part of this snapshot, we have got 3 calendars added for you. So we've got the onboarding calendar, a consultation calendar, and an intro call calendar. So this would be like your demo call. What you want to do in here is come to this pencil and you're going to change all the bits here. So you can add your logo for your SaaS, change the name of the calendar if you want to, the staff and location. So add any users that you have that are going to be relevant for the demo calls or the onboarding calls. So once you add the staff, it's going to draw in their availability. Any booking rules, so how long you want that onboarding call to be, the intervals between each of them, the minimum scheduling notice, maybe you want to have 24 hours, And that's what I personally recommend. You have a date range. So you might say, I only want to offer onboarding calls within the first week that they sign up. So it kind of prompts them to get their call booked as quickly as possible. So I would do that as 7 days. We don't really want to be taking it to 30 days because we want that onboarding call as soon as possible. And then you can put in your buffer time as well. If there's any other advanced settings here, one thing that I do recommend is in notifications and policies, it doesn't automatically toggle on email, SMS, or WhatsApp. So just come into here and just make sure that you're getting notified for email. We do also have a workflow with more notifications in it, but I always still come in here anyway and just toggle these on. And then your widget appearance, this is the branding that you can do to customize your calendars, but also form and confirmation. So at the moment, it's going to ask for their first name, their last name, their email, phone, and any notes. You can create a custom form if you want to ask any other questions that you might ask, but for now, let's just keep this simple and let's just use that form there. So you're going to go in and customize your calendars. The next one we've got is your opportunity. So this is the pipeline that we've got set. We have already got a pipeline set for you, which is leads to sales pipeline. And the stages that we've got are they are a lead, then engage lead, intro call cancelled or no show, intro call booked, consult call cancelled or no show. And these are all the stages that we built out for you. Now, if you want to change any of these, you can come into pipelines, go here, click edit, and you can change any of these stages. Perhaps you want this one to go there. Perhaps you want this to be called something different. Perhaps you want this to be deleted altogether. So just go and change this pipeline and just look at the stages which are relevant to you. Now, the main things I want to show you within this snapshot are the automation, so the workflows that we built for you, and also the sites. We've built some landing pages and some websites for you as well. So if we go into automation, let's just have a look at the things that we've got here. So we've got new lead automations. If we click inside here, you can see brand-based new lead nurture and lead magnet opt-in. So we've got pages that give you a lead magnet. This is going to lead into this workflow. Once you've got this all set up, you can see that the emails are all built out for you. All the timings are done. So lead magnet is going to go out first of all. There's the link to add your lead magnet there. It's going to wait an hour. It's going to send another email. So there's lots of emails that we've already written out for you. So this is just a standard lead magnet opt-in. The second category that we've got for you is call booked and call follow-up. So if someone books in for a demo call or an onboarding call or something like that, you've got all of the workflow reminders there, which go through that. And also if they cancel or no show, it's going to prompt them to reschedule as well. So we're not just letting that die. We're bringing them back and saying, let's get you rebooked in. So that's going to really help with your demo calls as well. We've then got your kind of miscellaneous workflows. So this is your opportunity stages as they change, as certain things that happen within your sales funnel is going to update in your opportunity. We've got follow-up reminders. We've got a database reactivation campaign. We've got inbound missed call automation. So there's a few things there which are not necessarily integral to the whole flow of what we're showing you here, but some really good workflows there which are going to help. We've then got list management. So you want to make sure that all the people that are being added to your list, you are keeping that list clean all the time. So we've got a list cleanup. It's going to update their phone, their email, their name, if none of those things are present. Unsubscribe if any of them bounce. So we're going to keep your email list nice and healthy and re-engage them or resubscribe if they decide to unsubscribe, and also engage lead as well. We've then got invoices, payments, and onboarding. This is probably one of the biggest ones, not necessarily invoices and payments, but if someone signs up for the SaaS, for example, you can actually come into here and you can select the order form that you have on your page. So submission type is sale, in funnel website. You're going to make sure that whatever funnel or website you decide to use from this snapshot, you update this with whichever one you decide to use. So just make sure that that trigger is set correctly once you've decided your page. It's going to update the contact field, all of that good fun stuff. Send an internal notification to you so that you get that amazing notification that says, congratulations, you've got a new subscriber. And then it's going to automatically add them to the getting started emails, which are the onboarding emails. Now, I just want to show you really quickly the onboarding flows that we've got here. We've also got the same, like if a SaaS subscriber cancels, what happens after that? But the onboarding flows that we've got here, we've got an onboarding survey reminder. So if someone has signed up and they haven't yet booked their onboarding call, this workflow is going to go through and keep reminding them to come back and book their onboarding call, which is amazing. The second one that we've got is our getting started emails. Now, these getting started emails actually take you through my 7-day activation campaign. Now, later on, I'm going to go through all about onboarding and all the steps and everything like that. And you can see here, this is actually built out. We've got all the emails in here that you need. And this actually follows, if I come back here a second, this 7-day activation campaign. So immediately they're going to get a welcome, then they're going to get a quick win setup email, then they're going to get an email that reinforces their momentum. Then there's going to be a usage trigger. So if they are engaged and they're active, then it's going to send them something different. If they're not, it's going to keep prompting them to go to book their onboarding call or book another support call. And you can see all of the kind of instructions here that talk you through how that 7-day activation works. So later on in the video, I go deep into onboarding, and this is exactly what you're going to implement in order to make sure that you have a really solid onboarding process. So you can see here, if we go back into the workflow, the main thing of where this gets super fancy is in this last email 7. So you can say email 7 has trigger links. If they were able to successfully complete the onboarding, capture a lead or book a call, they can simply acknowledge that. Otherwise, there is another trigger link that triggers another workflow to send an onboarding sequence to book a technical call. So everything that we just spoke about there, it goes through that activation campaign and it's already built out inside this getting started workflow for you. The other workflows that we've got are reviews and referrals. So once someone signs up, we want to capture them as a review as soon as possible. And all of these workflows are fully customizable. So we've gone in and added the templates. So any emails that are being sent, everything is already set up for you, but you can go in and change these, obviously go in and change the links and change everything like that. And then we've also got monthly nurture automations as well. So every single month there's going to be emails that go out in January, February, March, April, that go out and keep nurturing that lead. And you can see we've got all the emails set up for you there as well. So that's all within the snapshot. Now, something that I do just want to show you quickly before I move on to sites, because this is going to make this next step much easier for you, is if you go into settings and then come down to custom values, you can see here we've got a lot of custom values. So this whole snapshot is built around these custom values, which means that it's really easy for you to customize and update. Now, what we want to do here is come to custom values and just update the value of all of these things. And that means wherever this custom value is pasted, whether it's in a workflow, whether it's on a website, whether it's on a landing page, whatever it is, it's automatically going to be updated with your information. So the first thing you want to do, ignore the A2P for now. This is just if you need to add those in. But what you want to do is like app URL link. Do you remember when we were in the settings before and we created that subdomain, which was like app.madeformore.ai, for example? You can just come into here, click these 3 dots, click edit, and then put the value there. So for example, mine would be app.madeformore.ai. That's my app link. And then we click update. Then you're going to come into the CRM phone number. So if you bought a phone number specifically for your SaaS, then you can come into here, click edit, and you can put that phone number in the value section of that. And you can do this for all of them. So we've got the domain, which is your main domain, the from email. So this is for us, for example, it's hello@madeformore.ai. From your name, if you're using this as a personal brand, this will come from you. So I would say Carly. Known as business name, I would put Made for More AI there. Your lead magnet URL, if you have one, you can put that in there. Your onboarding calendar link. So it means that all of those emails that are saying, hey, book your onboarding call, you don't need to go in and update that link. You just update it once in the custom values, and it's going to be updated in all of the emails that mention that onboarding call link. Your primary color, so this is where we can add the design. This is where you're going to put the hex code of your color. A primary color, dark color. Any review links, so if you've got your Google My Business links, you can put them in there. Your secondary colors, and then your CRM links. So for example, mine is app.madeformore.ai. So just go into custom values first, add all of those custom values in, and it's going to make customizing the rest of the snapshot a lot easier. So now I just want to show you the sites, because this is another thing that's really cool that we've got for you. So we've got onboarding, we've got SaaS funnels, and we've got SaaS homepages. So if we go to SaaS homepages first, this is where we've got lots of websites for you that you can go in and create a website that feels good for you. So for example, if we go to clean SaaS homepage, we can click on this link here and you can see you've got everything that you need. We're focusing here on converting more leads. Here we go. So automatically, once we've added the logo and everything like that, it's going to automatically update here. We've got all of these colors will change. So at the moment, it all looks black, but these will be updated with the branding colors that you've added in the custom values. So at the moment, this looks a little bit rubbish, but all of this will be updated with the colors that you want that are part of your brand guidelines. So we've got a page here, we've got reviews, and then we've got all of our plans here as well. There is a button, which again, the color will change once you've added those colors in. And this is where you can switch around your different plans. So in the SaaS configurator, you created those plans. So here you can just put in, as part of my standard plan, these are the bits that they get. As part of the professional, this is what they get. And as part of the premium, this is what they get. And then once they've got that, it's going to take them to a landing page, which is going to be one of the checkout pages. So can you see here, it's going to take them to the order page, which we can go and customize in a little bit. So this is your page. There's lots of different examples that you can use here. So we've got different styles for you to choose from, and you can choose the one that's right for you. We've then got the SaaS funnels. So here we've got your checkout pages. So that custom value that we use to take you to the checkout page, that's going to take you here. So if we click on that, you can see there's a standard order form, professional order form, premium order form, and success. In a second, I'm going to show you how you can add the products to these order forms so that as soon as someone, clicks on this to purchase it, then they can actually purchase it and the product is in there. So I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I just really want to quickly show you other things that we've got. So we've got your ATP compliance funnel if you want to do that. We've got your calendar pages where you can add your calendar for your demo calls. We've also got your lead magnet funnel if you want to have a lead magnet to draw people into your SaaS, your reviews and your referrals page, and your utility pages as well. Now, I just want to show you quickly then how we can add the product to these checkout pages to make sure that people can go on and purchase. So if we just go to payments and then up here to products, now this is where we're going to be able to add your products. And we've connected your Stripe, so that's all good. And what you can do is you can click import from Stripe. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you all the products that you created in the SaaS configurator earlier. So down here, for example, I can see the $199 a month price. So I can add that in there. There's no setup fee, and then I can just click import product and price. So that's going to bring in that Stripe product and it's going to create that product for me. Now, once that's brought that in, this was a specific webinar offer that I was doing. It's got the Pro Plan offer. You can add any tax categories there. I don't typically touch any of these. In the UK, if you're VAT registered, you have to attach a 20% VAT. So you will have to do that if you're in the UK. If you're not, then lucky you. VAT is an absolute stinger. But you can see all the different prices here. So in one product, you can add the monthly price and you can also add the annual price as well. So you can click save and then that's going to be brought in there as a product. Then once you've got all of your plans in there as a product, you can come over to the page. I'm going to hop over back into the snapshot thing. I don't actually have any products added into here yet, but what you can do is you'll see all of the products here that you've imported from Stripe. And then once you go back into sites and we go to our funnel pages and we go to checkout, what you can actually do then is for the standard order form, you click on products, click add product, and all the products that you've imported previously in the product section that I just showed you are going to show here. So you can put the standard monthly one and the standard annual in here. You just select it, click save, and then that product is going to show up on that page. Do the same for the professional. So whatever your pro accounts are, go to products, add product, and add the pro monthly and annual in there. And then same for your agency, elite, premium, whatever it is you want to call it. And you can add all of those in there as well. So that is how to add your products. The other thing that I just want to show you quickly is the onboarding funnels. Now this is really cool. So this means that as soon as someone purchases, we immediately want to get them into the onboarding funnel. Now, if you go into the onboarding funnel, you can see they will immediately land on this page here, which is a really simple page. And there's going to be a video from you and it will say, hey, welcome, here's your next steps. And this is just a video from you This is an old video of me when I look about 12 years old. It's a video from me saying, thanks so much for joining. So that's the first video there. It takes them to this page here, which is where they can book in their onboarding call. Obviously, we haven't got that calendar added because it's my own personal calendar. And then we also have a thank you page as well. Something else that I've also given you in this snapshot is the onboarding tutorial video funnel. Now, later on, when I talk about the onboarding, I talk about this tutorial video that I do. And this is basically a page that I take them to, and I send them to this in my emails. And it's just a few quick wins. It's a video on each page, which shows them, for example, how to set up their business profile. Then once they've set up that, they go to the next page, which then shows them how to set up their personal info. Then once they finish that, it takes them to the next page, and it just kind of guides them through the setup. Now, they are going to do a lot of this on the onboarding call anyway, but sometimes you get people like myself who sign up for something and they just want to start clicking around and playing with stuff, and they just want to get into it. So for those people, I like to offer them this kind of self-paced onboarding as well as the onboarding call, so that they can just go and, watch these short videos, and it just helps them get set up with all of the key things that my ideal client needs. So those are the pages that we've got for you. As I said, they're all set up with custom values. So once you update your custom values in the beginning, a lot of this is going to be customized. You may decide though that you don't really like these pages, and I totally get that. You might want to go for something a little bit more fancy. If that's the case, then I really recommend that you use AI Studio. Now, AI Studio is Whitelabel's new vibe coding platform. It's a brilliant platform. If you've ever played around with something like Lovable or anything like that, then you can actually just vibe code your way through it. And vibe coding basically means you can use normal everyday language in order to build something, and you don't need to know coding language. So for example, you could come into here and you could say, can you build me a website for my SaaS product? And then in here, you could add this plus, and you could add all the information that you got about your ideal client, the outcome that we got from our outcome finder, any information that you've packaged together at this point. You could add this all together in a document, or you can paste all of that information here. You can say, here is my ideal client. Here is who it's for. This is the one outcome that I'm wanting to offer. These are the plans. This is what's included in all of my plans. And you can add all of that information in here. So you put that prompt in, and it's going to come through and start creating that page for you. And then through that, you can start to play around. Another thing you can also do though, is you might see another page that you like. I don't recommend that you do this entirely, but say for example, you like my page. You could take this link, go into, I'm going to get loads of duplicates of my page now, aren't I? Come into here and say, can you use this as inspiration to create my SaaS website? You can put that in there, but also you can then say, here are my branding colors, and you can put in your branding colors in there. Here is a photo of me, maybe if you're going to be the personal brand behind it. Here is my ideal client. Here is my one main outcome of the software that I am delivering. So lots of things like this. So take something as inspiration. You can put it into there, and then make sure that you customize it for your own thing. There is no point, even if you like my page, and I'm not saying this just because I don't want you to copy my page, even if you like my page, it's never going to translate well if you just copy someone else's page. Use things as inspiration, but make sure that you customize it for your own business, because this has to connect with your ideal client, and they need to feel like, this is for me, this is exactly what I want. So never copy someone else's page entirely. Use it as inspiration, use it as a guideline for the things that you want on your page and the structure that you want, but make sure that you're customizing it. Put in your colors, your photos, your ideal client, your language, your messaging, all that positioning that we did so much work on before. Make sure that you put that into here in order to create the page that you want. So that is it in a nutshell. There's lots of things in here, loads of workflows, loads of sites. If you just want to use the snapshot that we've got and the pages that we've got, everything is there for you. If you do want to get a little bit fancier and do your own kind of style, then I definitely recommend using AI Studio, and you can play around with that and get all the kind of styles that you want. So let's get back into it.
Okay, so when it comes to customization, there's a few things that I know you're thinking. Maybe you're thinking, what if I want to add more features? That's fine, but add features after users pay. So don't add features right in the beginning, because if there is too much going on, then that creates decision fatigue. They might look at what you're offering and say, well, I do need that, but I don't need that, but I kind of need that, but I definitely don't need that. And if there are 2 out of the 4 things that you offer that they don't need, they're going to start to think it's not going to be worth my money. Whereas if you focus on that one thing that they need, after that, you can then add features if you want to. So that makes the buying decision much clearer for your ideal client. The second thing is, what if my niche needs something specific? Now, only add in what directly supports the promised outcome. If it doesn't improve the result, it's noise. So for example, when I launched mine, my specific outcome was that I could help coaches and course creators launch their course within 30 days. That was my transformational promise. I saw so many things popping up that I could have added into my offer that were good, but it didn't necessarily get them to launch their product within 30 days. So that was my kind of like litmus test. If it didn't help them launch their course within 30 days, I didn't add it into the offer. I did, however, give that to them once they'd signed up. I used it as part of extending their lifetime value, and I would offer it to them at a later stage once they'd got past that 30-day mark with launching that course. And you might be thinking, how do I know when it's ready? If your messaging is clear and the onboarding creates a win, then it's ready. There's always going to be space to tweak. There's always going to be space to move things around, but perfection is delay disguised as professionalism. So understand what you're doing right now. You are not customizing software. You are designing their perception. So when someone logs in and instantly sees their industry, their language, their workflow, they think, oh my God, this was actually built for me. And that thought is what allows you to charge more. When you can get that moment where they think, this is exactly what I need, that's when you're able to move into that premium price point. So right now you have positioning, you have infrastructure, you have a product, you have pricing, but revenue doesn't appear just because pricing exists and just because you have a fancy website. Revenue appears when people actually see it. So now we're going to build your 30-day launch plan. Now, most SaaS businesses don't fail because the product is bad. It fails because it never actually launches properly. Founders just stay inside the dashboard. They're tweaking and they're optimizing and they're redesigning. But all the time you're wasting time doing that, nobody actually knows that it exists. A launch is not a big event. It's not fancy funnels. It's not paid ads. It's not fanfares and balloons and cutting a ribbon and all of that. A launch is simply getting your offer in front of the right people and asking them to make a decision. That's it. Okay, so we're going to break this down into a 30-day SaaS launch sprint. Every single week, we're going to be having one singular focus. So instead of just thinking, I just need to launch this thing, I just need to tell everyone about it, there is a real strategy that we're going to go through. So the first week, we're going to be looking at positioning and preparing. This is just making sure you're getting everything ready. Week 2 is beta and outreach. Week 3 is demo and close. And week 4 is convert and activate. Now, we're not building hype here. We don't just want to come out of the gate and just spam it to everyone. We're building momentum. And that's really what this 30-day SaaS launch sprint is going to enable us to do. It's going to enable us to lay the foundations so that we can have a really powerful launch, but also keep up that momentum in order to scale your business even further. So let's have a look at week 1, position and prepare. Okay, so week 1, this is the foundation and the preparation. So this week, it's not about perfection, it's about readiness, and it's about laying the foundation so that you can have a super successful launch. Now, there's a few things that we want to do here, and this week is really just about ticking things off and making sure we've got everything covered and making sure that when people do start coming through the door, you've got everything in place. What we don't want to happen is that you start getting clients that want to join your SaaS and something happens, something breaks, a funnel breaks, and automation's not working, and then you're scrambling, and instead of actually focusing on giving an amazing onboarding experience for those new clients, you're scrambling trying to fix things. So we just want to make sure that you're fully set up and ready to go. So the first things we need to look at, we want to finalize your positioning statement. Now, we've already gone through that earlier on in the video, and this might change a little bit as you're kind of learning more about the SaaS, as you're building your funnel, as you're speaking to more of your ideal clients, you might start to tweak this. So maybe the positioning statement that you said right at the beginning of this video may not be the one that you're using right now. So feel free to keep tweaking it, but we really want to make sure that we've got that clear now, where it feels like, yes, that is exactly who I'm speaking to. That's the one transformational result that I'm promising, and that's the pain that I'm solving. So finalize your positioning statement. The second one is finalize your pricing. As I said, pricing can change. So don't get too caught up on this. We really just want that one pricing structure in the beginning that feels good. You feel energetically aligned to it. You don't want to crawl under the table and die every time you say the price. And it just feels good. It makes sense in terms of profit. And this can always change. As clients come in, as you see how they're responding and what plans they're typically choosing, this can always change. But lock that in and get clear on what your pricing structure is. The next one is create your simple demo flow. Now, I'm actually going to go into this even more. I'm going to completely walk you through a whole demo script and how you can do these demo calls, but we really want to just map this out. The best way of doing this, if you're into stationery like me, get a pad like this, or you may just want to do it on your computer and get in Canva and do it like that, but just map out what those steps are. So the first step of the demo is this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. So you can have a nice visual of it. The next one is the payment link. So make sure that you've got all your payment processes set up. Again, we've set all this up before earlier on in the video, but make sure that you test it, then test it again, and then test it again. There's been so many times when I've launched something and I think that I'm all good, and then I get that awful email when someone emails in and they're like, I'm trying to pay, but I can't do it. And that's never a great first impression to your SaaS. So create the payment link, test it, test it, test it again, and make sure that it's working. As I showed you before, you can do it with a fake card, so you don't actually have to test it with your own money. You can do it with a fake card and just check that it's all working okay. And then lastly, set your onboarding automation live. Now, the onboarding is the most important part of this process. You really don't want to do this amazing sales pitch. You tell everyone about how amazing this product is and how it's going to change their life, and then they come in and then they feel lost. So you really want to make sure that this whole onboarding automation is live, it works, people are able to move through it easily, and you're going to deliver an amazing experience as soon as they sign up. So week 1 is all about foundations. Finalize positioning statement, finalize your pricing, create the simple demo workflow, create your payment link, and test it and test it and test it, and set onboarding automation live. Okay, so week 2, the beta outreach. This is when we're really starting to ramp up the momentum, and we're going to start with warm traffic. Now, the reason that we want to start with warm traffic, you may be looking at this and thinking, I don't know anyone though. Who am I going to talk to about this? Who am I going to share it with? But you will have more people in your network than you realize. We want to start with warm traffic because they have higher trust already. They know you, they like you, perhaps they've worked with you already. So you're already halfway through the door. They're also going to make faster decisions because they don't have to go through a process of knowing about you and trusting you. So they're going to be able to make those decisions much quicker. It's also going to be much easier to get feedback from them as well. So the feedback is probably going to land better. So they're going to say it nicer. You're not going to have, James on the internet that's going to be like, your SaaS is rubbish, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be much nicer with their feedback. So that's always a good thing in beta testing. But also they're going to be a little bit more lenient with you as well. So when you're doing your beta test, if things do go wrong in the beginning, they're going to be a bit more lenient with that. And they're probably not just going to leave straight away and say that your SaaS is crap. So the feedback is easier, they make faster decisions, and there is a much higher trust, which means that you're going to get people saying yes much quicker. So your beta outreach. The beta outreach is where we're going to reach out to a handful of people and we're going to ask them to take a look at your SaaS. We're not going to reach out to them and say, will you buy? We're going to ask them, will you come on a demo so that I can show you what I'm doing? And we're going to start small with this. We're not going to go completely, mass market and try and get it out to everyone. We really just want a small group of people so that we can get them onto the software. We get a feel of what it's like to onboard these clients. And then also we can just get that feedback and tweak where we need to. So we're going to start with warm traffic. Now you may be thinking, I don't know loads of people to reach out to. Who could I reach out to? Who could I ask to be on this? Especially if you're new in this space, if you haven't worked in this space before or with this particular client, you might be thinking, I don't know who I can speak to. But I'm going to go through a list of places where you can start looking. And trust me, there will be way more people in your network than you think. So the first one we're going to look at is your existing clients. If you do already have an agency or you've been working in a similar space before, then have a look at all your existing clients because those are the ones that have the highest level of trust with you. So the best thing you can do is get a notes folder up on your laptop or your phone, or if you want to go old school and have a notepad and pen, and start writing a list of all of these people. The next one is old leads. So these may be people that opted in to hear about a previous offer that you had, but now you're coming at them with a different offer. So these are still really good people to go back to. For example, if you work in the dental industry and previously you were running Facebook ads for dental practices, that was a very specific offer that was for them. But now you may be building AI chatbots for dental offices and you're focusing on speed to lead. So you can now go back to those old existing leads with a new offer and re-engage them. So old leads is a good one. The next one is LinkedIn connections. LinkedIn is a great platform to go for because everyone on there is looking to do business. They're so used to people sliding into their DMs and asking them to take a look at stuff. So LinkedIn is a great platform. If you haven't started your LinkedIn yet, then I definitely recommend that you jump on it and just start building those connections. You don't need to think about creating all this content and having a big strategy, but just start thinking about how you can start creating those connections if you haven't already. Facebook groups is another really good one. It is so easy to get into these Facebook groups and you have a hyper-targeted market of people who are already interested in what you do. So, for example, if you are working with I'm going to use dental practices as an example again. If you're working with dental practices, there's going to be so many Facebook groups that are like dental practices in Hampshire or dental practices in London or wherever it is that you live. So go on Facebook, see where your ideal client is hanging out, have a little think about where they're hanging out, have a look at the Facebook groups that are relevant to those people, and then join those Facebook groups. And you're not going to go in there and start spamming. I'm never ever going to tell you to go in there and start posting all of these, real promo like heavy sell things, but you can go in there and start building connections. You're going to realize with everything that I'm saying right now, none of this is about just mass spamming people. This is all about building connections, expanding your network, and having actual conversations with people. That's what this entire phase of the launch process is about. So Facebook groups are a really, really good one. Next up, you've got your email list. So hopefully you've started building an email list right now. If you haven't, if you are brand new to this and you don't have an email list, that's fine. But you do definitely want to start thinking about how you can start to build that list. I've got loads of strategies where I can talk to you about this. I do actually have a whole other video where I talk about this, which I'll link to after this. But go through your email list. So have a look at your email list. You can even, if you want to, start sectioning out some of those into really specific lists. So if part of your email list are for like way old offers that you had that are nothing to do with this, then you can always section them out, but have a look at your email list. You've then got industry contacts. So think about every event that you've attended, every networking event that you've gone to, every social that you've been to. Maybe you went to a networking dinner. Think about all the events that you've been to over the last few years and think about who you met at those places. Perhaps if you went to an event and they had like a WhatsApp group, for example, you could go back to that WhatsApp group that you were invited to years ago and see all of the contacts in that list and then start writing them on your list as well, because these are also going to be people to reach out to. And then lastly, you've got your contacts list. So this is so underrated, but so often we have people in our contact list that we completely forget about. So have a look through the contact list on your phone. Literally just scroll through and see who is in there, because you might see a name and then it sparks a memory of someone else that you met. So have a look through there and again, write down all of those people. So you're going to have a master list of people that you can personally reach out to. This is all about personal outreach. None of this is just about sending one message, crossing your fingers and hoping that people reply. This is all about connection, personal outreach, and really having those conversations. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to give you a simple outreach script. So many people overthink this. When I worked in network marketing, I used to do this all the time. I would just sit and craft this perfect message to send out to people. And sometimes I would send messages that were like paragraphs and paragraphs long. I was trying to give all the information in this one message, and it is the worst way to do it. All you want to think about with this is just a hand raiser message. All you want to happen here is that someone raises their hand, they respond, and they just show a little bit of interest. And then you can build from there. That's where you can give them even more information. So a simple outreach script that I would send to someone, and if I wanted to get them on my beta, would be, hey Carly, I've just built a system specifically for dental or construction or whatever it is that you're reaching out to that helps them achieve the result, that transformational promise that we said, without pain. So that position statement that we said right at the beginning, that's going to be the whole first part of this message. And then at the end, you're just going to close with, I'm opening up 10 beta spots this month. Would you like to see it? So you're finishing with an open-ended question. You're not saying, please don't say anything like this. Please don't say, hey, no worries if it's not for you. Totally understand. All right, I need to actually share some things with you. I've got so many times that I've done this, and I've done this so badly. Let me just share these things that are awful to do. Do not do any of these. First of all, don't open with, I'm really sorry to, or I hope you don't mind me sending this, or I'm really sorry if you don't want me to send this, or please ignore this if you're not interested. Don't apologize before you even get into the message, because you're already kind of setting yourself back and thinking, I don't know if this is going to be for you. These people are getting messages all the time. So you don't want to open with, I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be for you. You really want to grab their attention. So never start with something like that. Get straight to the point. Also, don't fluff. If you know this person, don't be like, hi. Oh my God, this drives me nuts. Don't say, hi, how are you doing? How are the kids? Oh, I was thinking about you the other day when, I went to this restaurant and it made me think of that time and blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, don't do it, because all the person is doing is reading that message and then thinking, get to the point. And then it's so annoying when it feels like a personal message and then you come in with a pitch at the end. So don't start with any of that. Get straight to the point. Also, at the end, do not give them an out. So don't say, no worries if it's not for you, please ignore it, or I hope you don't mind me sending this. Again, don't apologize at the end, and always end with an open-ended question. Would you like to see it? It's really hard for someone not to respond when they say, would you like to see it? But if you say, hope everything's going well for you, can't wait to see you soon, blah, 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 send my love to the kids, then it's like just a normal generic message. So that is the outreach message. I went on a little bit of a tangent now because I got like a little response then that took me back to sending all of these messages before and all of the mistakes that I made. But this is what we're going to do. So your whole message is, hi Carly, I've just built a system specifically for niche that helps them achieve result without pain. I'm opening up 10 beta spots this month. Would you like to see it? That's it. Don't say anything else. Don't say anything else. And the most important thing here as well is that don't be afraid of saying beta. Americans say beta, don't they? Beta. There's so many reasons why this is actually a really powerful word to use. First of all, it reduces expectation pressure. So the person that is coming onto your SaaS, they know that it's in beta. Everyone knows that anything in beta, there could be mistakes, things could go wrong, things could be not quite as expected. So it just reduces that expectation pressure. Also, it increases curiosity. So people are like, oh, this isn't out yet. I'm one of the first to try it. This is exciting. I wonder what this is. But also it makes them feel early, and people feel special when they feel like they're one of the first people to be invited. Anytime you can make someone feel special and feel seen and feel like they're exclusive or elite in some way, that is always going to feel good on the receiving end. So it makes them feel like, wow, they've thought of me as being one of the first people. And lastly, it gives you feedback leverage. Whenever you have beta, it is completely expected that you as the SaaS owner or you as a product owner would reach out to them and ask for feedback. So they're going to be much more forthcoming with the feedback that they give you, and they're going to feel like they're actually part of the process of shaping what this product is. So that one tiny word, beta, actually opens up so much for you, and it can actually allow you to just relax a little bit, and actually it feels quite special for the client as well. So week 3, the demo and the close. This is where a lot of people actually freeze up a little bit because they're thinking, oh, I actually have to sell this thing. If you're not used to selling, this bit can feel quite uncomfortable, but it is all good. You do not need to be a world-class salesperson. All you need to do is focus on the value that it brings. Whenever I have any of my clients that come to me and they're like, oh, I feel so uncomfortable on the sales call, and I've definitely had that experience myself where I just hated getting on these sales calls. The number one thing you always want to think of is, remember, there is a transformational promise that you are offering, and there is a pain that you are solving for someone. If you always focus on those things and make it about them instead of about you making the sale, then this whole process is going to feel so much more comfortable. But I am actually going to give you a whole framework of how you can structure this demo so that the close feels much more natural and you don't feel like you're doing this heavy sales pitch. So these are the points that we're going to go through. The first part on the demo is that you're going to clarify their current pain. So you're going to speak to them, ask them a few questions. Again, on this demo close, you don't want to go fluffy. You don't want to start getting into their personal life. You don't want to start doing all of this kind of small talk. You want to get into the good stuff straight away. And you're going to clarify, what is their main pain? What is the main thing that you're struggling with? Once they clarify that and they say it to you, they are also reinforcing that that's something that they need to fix. The second thing is quantify it. So instead of allowing them to just say something vague, like, I just feel really overwhelmed in the business at the moment, get them to quantify it. What is it that's overwhelming you? What is it that causes you stress? What is it that actually keeps you up at night? And get them to quantify and really pinpoint what that one thing is. And then once they have that, you can then also validate why that is a genuine problem that they need to get solved. The next one is show your system solving that problem. Now, if you've done your messaging right and you've reached out to the right people, then that problem that they have is going to be the exact thing that you solve. So then you can say, I've got this system, and this is how we solve that problem that you just told me about. You're not going to show them the entire platform. This was definitely a mistake that I made in the beginning. I was so impressed by what this platform could do. I would show them the thing that was solving their problem, and then I'll say, and it can do funnels, and it can do calendars, and it can do this, and look at this cool thing. And I just wanted to show off all these features, but actually that's just really overwhelming. So all you're going to do is show your system solving that one problem. Then you want to reinforce the outcome. So, for example, if your promise is that you can help someone get 10 booked calls a week, then you will say, if you were to get 10 booked calls this week, how would that impact your business? And they will say, well, it would have a massive impact. Financially, how would that impact your business? Well, it would enable us to bring in XYZ more money. Okay, cool. So you want to reinforce that outcome so that they can see if they move from here, their current pain, to the outcome, there is a tangible result that they're going to get. And then lastly, you're going to present your pricing confidently. This is the bit where people freak out, and this is the bit where people tend to over talk. If you haven't done sales calls before, it's likely that you will just talk a lot in this point, but I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a script that you can follow in order to do this properly. So an example of a close is that you would say, okay, so based on what you've told me, this would remove the pain you just told me about and help you achieve the result that you really want. The investment is $297 a month. Would you like to get started today? And then you stop and you stay silent and you don't say anything else. Because what tends to happen is that you then over explain. You say, so for like $297 a month, it's pretty good really, because you can get the funnels, and then like normally you pay that for like a funnel builder anyway, and then it's blah, blah, and you just talk yourself out of it. So once you ask that open-ended question, you then just stop and you let them answer. So that is a really simple close that you can do to your demo, and that's going to make the close of that demo feel really comfortable for you and for them, and you're going to get a much more positive response. Okay, so before we move on to week 4, I just want to handle a few things that I know are going on in your head right now, because I know some things are popping up and possibly you're freaking out and you're like, I don't know if I could do this. So let's just tackle those straight away. The first one is you're probably thinking, what if nobody responds? That is a really valid thing. It's kind of like, if you have a birthday party and worried that no one's going to turn up. Did anyone else have that thing as a child? I always used to think that. And I always thought this when I was launching my SaaS, I felt the same. I thought, what if no one responds to me? But if no one responds to you, then it's your positioning that needs refining. It's not your whole product. It's not your confidence. You don't have to then just stop everything down tools and say, right, I'm gonna come back to this when I feel more confident. Little truth bomb for you there. You're never going to feel confident and you're never going to feel ready. So don't wait for your confidence to be where it needs to be. Your confidence doesn't need to change. Your ability doesn't need to change. You don't now need to go off and buy all of these courses and go and get a master's degree in technology before you come back to this. So do not think that it's your ability that's the problem. And lastly, it's not the product. You don't have to go back to the drawing board and think, oh no, I need to change it. Maybe I should plug in this other cool automation tool that will do this, or maybe I need to change it like this, or maybe I need to completely flip the pricing on its head. It's none of that. It's just the positioning. Whenever you look at a product or anything that you're selling, whether it's a digital product, whether it's a physical product, or whether it's SaaS, we always wrap it up and put a nice bow on it, and then we offer that to someone else. If that doesn't sell and no one wants that package, it just means that the wrapping isn't right. So we need to unwrap it, wrap it up in something else and position it differently. So forget about changing the product. Do not procrastinate there. Do not go down a self-limiting spiral where you start saying that you're not cut out for this. None of that is true. We just need to wrap it up differently. The second one is that you might be thinking, but I don't have an audience. I don't have loads of people that I can reach out to. And the truth is, you don't need to have a big audience. You need to have conversations. So the digital world would have us believe that all we need to do is create a post, it's going to go viral, and loads of people opt in to whatever it is that we're selling. And for some people that have an audience, that is true. But before that point that they had a big audience, they had a lot of conversations. So if you don't have an audience right now, you need to go even deeper into the personal connection with people. And you need to stop thinking of this as digital marketing and think of this as personal marketing. So the more people you can reach out to and have a genuine conversation with, the faster this is going to go. And I promise you, I would rather have 20 really good quality conversations than 10,000 followers. I'm going to tell you a little story. So a few years ago, I actually took over an Instagram account that had 2.3 million followers. And I was brought in to come in and monetize that platform so that they could do something with these followers. And it was so interesting because I thought by going into an Instagram account that had 2.3 million followers, that whatever I put out, they would buy instantly. But they didn't. And the reason that they didn't was because there was no connection. There was no one that they were buying into. And so 2.3 million followers actually ended up monetizing less. That business earned less than my own personal business, which at the time had about 5,000 followers. So forget about the number of followers that you have and start thinking about the number of quality conversations that you have instead. And then lastly, you might be thinking, I am scared to sell. I hate selling. I'm not good at selling. I just find it really uncomfortable, and that's fine. You are not selling software. You're offering relief. Imagine if a friend came to you and she was like, oh, I've got such a bad headache. My head is killing me. It's just ringing. I've got such a bad headache. And you knew that you had medicine in your bag that could get rid of that headache. You knew that you could just take that tablet and it would be done. Can you imagine sitting there being like, oh God, I don't want to offer her the paracetamol though, because, what if she thinks that I'm trying to sell to her? Or what if she thinks that I'm trying to, get her to do something that she doesn't want to do? I'm just going to stay quiet. You wouldn't do it. If you know that you've got something that can solve a problem, you want to help people. And if you get to the point where you genuinely believe in the product that you have packaged up and the transformation that it can offer, it won't feel like selling anymore. So always make this about them. What is the problem that you can solve, and what is the transformation that you can offer to that person? Stop making it about you, and it will feel so much more comfortable. Okay, so week 4, this is where we convert and we activated. We are in a full momentum swing at the moment. Now, this week matters more than week 1 because revenue without activation equals churn. And churn basically means that people join the software, but then they quickly leave. And that's not what we want. So we want to make sure that as soon as they join your software, they are activated and they are engaged as soon as possible. So right now, you've got all your foundations set in week 1. You've reached out to people in week 2. You have done your demo calls in week 3. So you should have people now that are saying that they want to join and they're ready to go. So these are the things that we want to do. Collect the payment is the first thing we're going to look at. You want to make sure, ideally, that you can collect that payment on the call. Once you have that demo call and they say, yeah, amazing, I want to do it, then the best thing to do in that moment is share your screen and you say, amazing, let's get you set up. Again, this isn't being pushy. This is actually assisting them through that process. Think of it like a concierge. Instead of just sending them away and saying, hey, here's the link, blah, 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 you can actually walk them through that process and make it a lot more comfortable for them. So you're going to collect that payment. It's connected with your Stripe. This thing should be really nice and easy. The next thing you're going to do is send a welcome email straight away. What typically happens when someone purchases, this is much more the case with bigger purchases, but even with software as well, you get buyer's remorse. So someone will sign up, they'll pay for something, and then suddenly the doubt kicks in. So for example, they might log into the software and they're like, oh my God, I don't know what button I'm meant to press. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to set it up. So there's 2 things we're going to do here, which are going to completely cover that and make sure that your new clients don't feel any buyer's remorse. So the first thing is send a welcome message immediately. As soon as they sign up, everything is sent to their email. So they say, hey, this is the next step. This is what you're going to do next. We're so glad to have you here. And it makes them feel like they're actually part of a community and that they're going to be supported through this. If they sign up and then they don't hear anything from you, that's when the doubt starts to kick in that maybe this isn't what they thought it was. So that's a really important thing. And I'm going to show you exactly what my 7-day email process looks like. The next one is that immediately you want to get them booked in for an onboarding call. Now, you may do this yourself in the beginning. If you don't have a team, you may not want to outsource this. You may do this yourself. Or you may outsource it to something like Extendly, which I'm going to talk a lot more about, but you may outsource it to Extendly, or you may just have an internal team member that does this for you as well. And then lastly, we're going to trigger that first win automation, because the whole goal in this 7 days is to get them one win. One win is all we want. We don't want to get them being a master of the whole platform. We're not trying to get them 10 appointments in the first week. We just want to get them one win. So you want to create an automation, whether it's that they get a snapshot on their onboarding call, or whether it's that there's something that you can do for them which will enable them to get that win. We want to trigger the first win automation so that within 7 days, they feel like they're already making progress. Because once you do that, you're going to build their belief in themselves, and you're going to build their belief in the product that they've just invested into. You're going to build referrals. The first 7 days when someone signs up to something, that is the highest opportunity for them to refer you to someone else. It's when their excitement levels are at the highest. So they are much more likely at this point, if they get that quick win within 7 days, to go and tell all their friends about it and say, hey, I've just signed up to this thing. You should definitely try it. It's amazing. So that's a really key point. And then the last one is retention. If they go 7 days, even if they go 30 days and they go through it and they start to embed themselves on this platform, then they are much more likely to stay longer. And the lifetime value per client is going to be much higher because of that. Now, the first thing you're going to do, don't get caught up in small talk. Don't get caught up in talking about how their day was, what the weather is. Just get right into it, because you want to maximize the time that you've got together. So you'll say something like, before we dive in, I always start here. And then you want to say something like this. So first of all, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. Before we set anything up, I would love to understand what made you decide to join. And then you're going to let them talk. Now, the reason that this matters is that it confirms their motivation. It reminds them of why they've signed up, and the feeling that they had when they first signed up, they're going to hopefully get that feeling back again. Secondly, it builds rapport. It helps you understand exactly why they're here and what it was that made them make that buying decision. And thirdly, it reveals their real pain. Once you know what that real pain is, you can target the rest of that onboarding call to fixing that one thing. And then once you know that, you can reflect it back. So you'll say something like, perfect. So if we can help you, and then you're going to repeat the outcome that they said, then this will have been a great decision for you. And this is what creates the alignment. Now, the second step is that you're going to clarify their outcome. So ask one question. If this system worked perfectly for you, what would it look like in 90 days? And then listen carefully. Now, I just want to jump in a second here, because if you are feeling like this whole onboarding and support aspect feels really overwhelming, and you're thinking, I don't know how to support the clients and do the selling and do the demos and create all of the content, and you're feeling like you don't really want to be focusing on any of the support stuff, then you can actually outsource to someone like Extendly. So this is what I did when I started my SaaS. I didn't know everything about Whitelabel, and I also didn't want to wait until I knew everything about Whitelabel before I got started. So instead, I actually outsourced all of the support to Extendly. Now, Extendly are actually a white label support company who can come in and act as your 24/7 support team to serve your clients, and they will act as if they are you. They will be completely branded as you. You can tell them what you want to cover on the onboarding calls. You can get them to set up your specific snapshots, and they will do all of that for you as if they are part of your team. And all you do is you pay them a monthly fee, which will just scale depending on how many sub accounts you have. So for example, I think the first one is like 0 to 10 sub accounts, then you'll pay a certain amount, then the next one is up to like 50 sub accounts, then the next one is up to 100 sub accounts. So it actually is a really great way of outsourcing the support and allowing that expense to grow with you, instead of just hiring someone full time who may be twiddling their thumbs a little bit in the early days. Now, the kind of stuff that Extendly can do for you is they can do your onboarding calls. So as soon as someone signs up, they jump on a call with the Extendly team. Again, they're representing you, and they will do the onboarding call for you. You can also have a support chat widget. So in the corner of your website, you have a support chat widget, which all of your SaaS clients can jump onto. They can speak to the team 24/7 and ask whatever they want. They'll come back, they'll send Loon videos, they'll reply to whatever questions they've got, and they can fully support your clients 24/7. That is a massive asset, because it means that you're not going to have people emailing you or jumping into your Slack at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night wondering how they can get this workflow fixed. So that is a huge, huge plus of it. But there's also loads of other cool things they do. So you can actually have a full branded portal, which means that you can actually offer fully branded sub accounts to each of your premium clients. So for example, you might say, when you're on the top plan, we will actually brand your entire sub account so it's just for you. So it feels feels like an internal tool for you. There's loads of little pluses that you can do. And if you decide that you don't want to do any of this, if you just want to focus on selling, which to be honest with you, I really recommend that you do. If you focus on selling and you get other people to do the support for you, you're going to feel so much more confident. It's really going to help with your confidence when it comes to pricing. And you know that you can go to bed at night knowing that all of your customers are completely supported. So if you do want to look into that, in the description of this, you'll see a link to Extendly. You can have a chat with them and see if they're the right fit for you. As I said, I use this. I've used them from the beginning and I definitely recommend. Okay, so there's 4 big mistakes that I see people make with onboarding, and I really want to help you not make any of them. So the first one is overloading with features. As I said, do not get excited. Even though you may be excited about all the cool things that you can do, it's not for them to learn this all in the first 7 days. So don't just bombard them with loads of stuff. Really think about taking them through a process with the onboarding and just helping them get a win every single day and not trying to show everything. Only show what supports the promised outcome. The second thing is leaving them alone and just thinking that because they've signed up to it, they're just going to suddenly know everything they need to do. They really need to feel supported in this first 7 days, especially. This is the time to really double down on that support. Really help them feel like they are part of something and they are supported in this journey. And then that's going to give them the confidence to keep trying new features and diving into it more. The third mistake is no kind of start here structure. So again, don't throw everything at them. Give them that clear route that they can follow through. I'm going to show you an example actually of how I've done this. I actually did it in a really cool funnel page and it really took them through a nice clear process. So I'll show you exactly how to do that. The fourth one is not having an onboarding agreement. This is a really important one to have. And I remember when I first started, I didn't have this agreement in place. I onboarded someone who had a really big business and they later asked me, how are you using my data? How are you storing all this? And I didn't have anything in place that they had signed or agreed to. So it's really important that you do this. I've actually got my entire template, which I can give to you. So if you do decide that you want to join Go High Level or you want to upgrade or you want to join my community, then you're going to get access to my full Made for More community. And within there, you get all of my templates. So you get all of my snapshots and templates and everything like that. So you will actually get my onboarding agreement and you can have all of that ready to go. So that is super, super helpful, but definitely don't make the mistake that I did of not having that in place before you launch. It's really important. Now, in terms of onboarding, you can go for a more premium onboarding experience, and there's some extra bits of support that you can offer. People really want support, by the way. So, for example, you could do a group onboarding call weekly. If you don't want to outsource your onboarding, if you don't want someone else to do this for you, or you don't want to hire someone internally, but also you don't want to be doing one-on-one onboarding calls as well as the demos all the time, then a group onboarding call can work really well. I know that High Level do a group onboarding call and it works well. So you could just say that, every Thursday, then there's a group onboarding call, and that's great. The only thing about that is that someone might sign up on a Friday, for example, and then they need to wait until the following Thursday until they're onboarding, and that can be quite a long time. So I personally like to do one-on-one. I feel like it's really worth the investment in those early days to get that person feeling really confident and really set up strong. But if you don't have the capacity to do that, then group onboarding can work really well. You can have a private Slack community or any other community. You could use the community within High Level. So I actually do have a Slack channel and I also have a community within High Level as well. So that's another way of offering support. You can do done for you setup. So you could say that in the top tier, for example, they get a done for you setup for them, but in the other ones, they don't. You could do quarterly optimization calls. So this might be a one-to-one call with you or someone else on your team where they just make sure that they're getting the most out of the platform and really utilizing it properly. But you can also do what I do with my SaaS is I do a weekly coaching call. So this is actually more based on like strategy. It's not really tech stuff. They get all the tech support and everything like that. But I actually just offer that weekly strategy coaching call where they can come on. I get to connect with them. I've got a really good connection with a lot of my SaaS clients now. And once you have that connection, it's much harder for someone to leave because they really feel like they're kind of leaving the community. So a group coaching call or something like that could be really, really useful. And of course, that all increases the lifetime value of each customer as well. Okay, so it's all well and good me telling you this is what you can do and this is what you should do, but let's just break it down into actual numbers, because I always think that when I can get a grip of the numbers, that's when it starts to really make sense in my head. So for example, if you follow this process that we just spoke about, that 30-day SaaS launch sprint, then if you reach out to 50 people, and remember, when I say reach out, I don't mean post one social media post and hope that 50 people see it. I mean, personally, send this message out to 50 people and have 50 conversations with people. If you reach out to 50 people, then conversion averages, you should look to book about 15 demos. By doing 15 demos, you would look to close 5 users. And then if you did that at $297 per month, obviously we've looked at our price anchoring, that's that nice middle plan that we spoke about. Then you're looking at 1,485 monthly recurring revenue in 30 days. And that is going to build and build and build. Now, of course, everyone's averages are going to be completely different. If you've never been on a Zoom call and sold something before, then maybe you might close a few less people to start with. If you don't have any network whatsoever, literally you only know your mum, then of course that 50 people is going to take a little bit longer to do. And maybe you don't have those relationships. But this is what we want to aim to do. So reach out to 50 people, have 50 conversations, book 15 demos, get 5 users on there. I always think when I look at this, it makes me feel so much more relaxed because I'm like, even 5 people signing up is a really good monthly recurring revenue. And the thing that I love about SaaS the most is that monthly recurring revenue means that the work you're doing today is going to stack each month. So if you've got 5 users on there and you're focusing on giving them an amazing service and they don't leave, then you've got almost $1,500 in monthly recurring revenue. If you do that same work again the next month, 50 people, 15 demos, 5 users sign up, then you are doubling that again. And then the third month, you do this same thing. This is a pattern. This is a habit that you want to get into and a kind of a KPI that you want to set for yourself in terms of activity to do each month. If you focus on that, then we're stacking, then we're stacking, then we're stacking, then we're stacking. And then finally, after 6 months' time, you're at a really healthy monthly recurring revenue. You're not starting from scratch. The agency model, if you're doing one-off project builds, that's when you kind of get this up and down roller coaster revenue where you're thinking, oh, I've had loads this month, but I've got none the next month. This is what enables you to have really consistent, predictable revenue. These numbers aren't massive. You can reach out to 50 people. I know that you can. I know that with the access that we have to LinkedIn, with access that we have to Facebook groups, with everything that we have at our disposal right now, 50 people and 50 good conversations is not unrealistic. And I want you to set that as the minimum benchmark for yourself. Don't think, oh, I feel more comfortable doing 10. Well, that's fine. But then if you look at the averages, the conversion averages, if you do 10 people, that's, I'm not even going to try and do the maths because I can't do it, but that's much less demos and that's much less users signing up. So aim for 50 and use these numbers as your benchmark. Now, most people treat the launch like a one-time event. They're like, I've done that. Thank God. 30 days in, I've done it and I'm feeling good. I don't want you to think of that. Selling a SaaS is like selling a system. Every single month, you want to do the same thing. You want to have these repeatable habits that you do every single month. So new outreach, new demos, new onboarding, and new retention wins. And once you do that, momentum compounds. As I said, this is when your monthly recurring revenue is going to keep increasing. So instead of focusing on the sales and how much money you're making, think about the activity. Just focus on doing that repeatable activity every single month, and your momentum and your monthly recurring revenue will compound. Okay, so to wrap this up, I just want to give you the biggest mistakes that I see people making when it comes to launching their SaaS or launching any product, to be honest with you. The first one is waiting for perfection. If I had waited until I knew everything about high level and until I knew everything about SaaS and marketing and everything, I would still be waiting today. And there is so much that you can learn. And if you're waiting until you know everything, you will never get out of the gate. So think about your minimum viable product. This is my SaaS. This is the one problem that I solve. This is my one transformational promise. And this is the one main thing that I'm offering people. Focus on that and don't get distracted. There are so many people. If you're in the high level Facebook group, you will see posts all the time of someone popping up saying, I just made £1 million with this strategy, or I just made 100 million doing this. And that's fine. Everything works and different things work for different people. And one of the biggest skills you can have in this business is staying disciplined and staying focused on your path. Anything that you do will work as long as you do it long enough and you commit to it long enough as well. So don't get distracted by all the other things that you could do. Keep this super simple and don't wait for everything to be perfect before you launch. The second mistake that I see people do is they just launch cold without conversations. I've touched on this already, but just turning into like a Pamela Anderson and throwing all of these social media posts out and just sitting back and hoping that you don't have to speak to anyone and they're just going to sign up, that isn't going to work. If you want this to go fast, then you need to lean in and have conversations. So don't rely on social media posts and all these super fancy schmancy funnels, because they're not going to work unless you're having engaging conversations. So launching cold and spamming everyone, that doesn't work. Focus on the conversations. And lastly, underpricing out of fear. Having that feeling of like, oh God, but they're selling it for $47. You're going to see so many people selling this for different prices. You're going to see some people that are giving it away for free. And you're like, well, how can I charge $297, $497, $897 for my product when someone else is giving it away for free? And if you focus on always being the cheapest, it is a race to the bottom, and that is not a race that you want to be in. So again, get your blinkers on, forget what everyone else is doing. Other people might be giving this away for free because they are getting that person to buy a 10 grand mastermind program at the same time. You don't know what's going on behind the hood of everyone else's business, and you don't even know if that other business, which you are now trying to emulate by dropping your prices, is even profitable. So forget what everyone else is doing. Don't underprice out of fear. Think about the problem you are solving and the price that's relative to that. What would that person pay to get that problem solved? That's all you want to think about. Do not have a race to the bottom. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Getting users is easier than keeping them. So before you celebrate your first $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue, let's make sure that it stays. Most SaaS businesses don't die because they can't get users. They die because users leave. And users don't leave because the product is bad. They leave because they're just confused and completely overwhelmed. And when they feel overwhelmed, it's easier to just walk away than it is to lean in. Now, onboarding is not a welcome email. Onboarding is a belief building system. Your job in the first 7 days is really, really simple. Make them believe that this was the best decision that they've ever made. There are only 3 things that new users are thinking. They're thinking, did I make the right choice? Can I actually use this? And will this work for me? If you can answer those 3 questions quickly, then churn drops dramatically. You now know how to onboard users. The next shift is thinking like a SaaS CEO. So this is when we're going to start thinking about metrics and scale. Now, when people hear metrics, they think of spreadsheets. And when I think of spreadsheets, I think of dull. And I'm not going to be talking to you about spreadsheets. I'm not going to have you doing all of this crazy stuff. What I'm going to teach you is actually way simpler. So there are only 4 numbers that you need to care about. We've got MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue, churn, which is the percentage of customers that are lost versus the percentage of customers that are gained. LTV, which is your lifetime value per client or customer. And CAC, which is cost per acquisition. So your monthly recurring revenue, these are the subscription costs that are building every single month. And that's really the number that you want to focus on. I do actually have an entire, I know I just said I wasn't going to give you a spreadsheet, but I do have a spreadsheet that I'm going to give you. Actually, it's not really a spreadsheet. It's kind of like a tracker. So I'm going to give you that tracker. I'm going to go through that with you in a second. But the monthly recurring revenue is that one number that you want to look at every single morning. I got in the habit of waking up and looking at what my monthly recurring revenue is, because your monthly recurring revenue is essentially the heartbeat of your business. If that's not growing, then your business isn't growing. So this is a really important number to look at. The second one is churn. So this is where we're looking at how many people are leaving, and FYI, people will leave. Even the biggest marketers, the people that you look up to and you love, Alex Hormozy has people churn from his products. Churn is inevitable. And whenever you get that first person that cancels, it feels really personal. And I remember when I got the first email saying, hi, I'd like to cancel my subscription. I was like, why? Why don't you like me? Why don't you want to be part of my product anymore? And it's got nothing to do with you. Most of the time, it's just to do with them. Perhaps they've taken a pause in their business. Perhaps they're looking to cut down on some of their expenses. And, churn is inevitable. People will always leave. But churn is really the balance between how many people are leaving and how many people are joining. We always want to have more people joining than we have leaving. So this percentage, this churn percentage, ideally you want to keep it definitely below 5%. Ideally you want to be at 2 to 3%. You're never going to get it at 0%. But ideally you want to keep this below 5%. In your Stripe dashboard, you're going to be able to see this really easily. You can actually customize your Stripe dashboard so that you can see the metrics that you need to see. And it's going to show you lifetime value. It's going to show you monthly recurring revenue. It's going to show you churn. So you can really easily keep a track on what your churn percentage is. So this is another one that you want to look at. Lifetime value. So when someone joins your SaaS, how much is that one customer worth to you? Now, the reason why this is an important number is because whatever this number is decides how much we can spend to acquire a customer. So lifetime value, it might be that typically someone will join your SaaS and then they stay with you for 6 months. To be honest, with software, the lifetime value of a customer is way higher than a membership or something like that, because they establish their entire business on your platform. And as long as you're getting them results, as long as you're getting them the leads that they promised or the calls that you promised or whatever it is that you're solving, then they will stay much longer than any other kind of monthly recurring product. But what you can do to actually increase the lifetime value of a customer is you might say, typically they stay with me for 12 months, for example, and this is the amount that they pay. But if I upsold them into potentially a higher plan or an add-on or maybe some other kind of support package, then you can actually increase that lifetime value. So it's a really good number to look at, because the higher you can get the lifetime value, the higher you can pay to acquire a customer if you want to. Which moves us on to the CAC, which is cost per acquisition. Now, in the beginning, I do not recommend that you run Facebook ads. Facebook ads only work once your testing is in place, once you really know your ideal client, you know that they want this product, and you know exactly what kind of messaging they respond well to. If you run ads in the beginning, you need to have a high burn rate. You are going to have a good chunk of money that you are happy to burn through before you can get an ROI on those campaigns. So I don't recommend doing that. And this is going to be a number that you're going to look at probably a little bit later on in the journey if you do start doing paid advertising. For now, you want to be doing things that are almost free to get them in, having the conversations in the DMs with people, going to a networking event and meeting people like that, being invited to speak on a stage. That's one of the best things that you can do in order to get customers into your business. And these are all things that don't cost you money. So this is the activity that we want to be looking at in the beginning. But it's a really important number to look at if you do start going into paid advertising. Now, once you truly understand these 4 metrics, then you truly understand your business. I took too long to get focused on these metrics, and it was only way later on in my business that I looked at them, and then I realized actually the reality of my business and that some parts of it weren't as healthy as I wanted them to be. So if you can get clear on this right from the beginning, then you're going to be able to scale much healthier.
Okay, so I want to show you one of my favorite trackers. I use this every single day. This is probably the most used tab on my laptop, and this is the monthly recurring revenue tracker. So inside the resources document that I've given you, click on this here, and then you can open it up, and it's going to open up like this. So here we can see we've got this tracker. If you just make a copy before editing, it's not going to allow you to do it unless you make a copy. So go to File, make a copy, and then it's going to do a copy for you. And then here, this is where you can track your monthly recurring revenue and set a goal and stick to that goal every single week. So what we want to do here is put in your monthly recurring revenue here. If you already have a business, you can put in what you're currently earning. If you don't, then you can just keep this as 0. Put in your monthly recurring revenue goal. So say, for example, you want to start earning 10,000 per month. So you'll put in 10,000 per month there. By the way, all of these are set in dollars at the moment, but if you want to change the currency, for example, if you're in the UK and you want to change this to pounds, just click on the box where there is a currency, go to format, then number, and then you can change it to pounds here, or it will be set to dollars by default. Put in the date that you're starting. So put in your launch date here. You'll be able to see you can just toggle between all of the months whenever you're deciding to launch. So we'll set this date for today. Here, your average monthly recurring revenue charge. So if you've got a $97, a $297, and a $497 plan, you can look into your Stripe account and see the average recurring revenue. And this is the amount that you're going to put in here. But say, for example, you want to focus on the $297 plan, you can put that here. Your subscriber goal, maybe you want to have 50 subscribers. And then your current active subscriber count as well, you can put that in here. So if you work out that $10,000 per month divided by 297, that's how you're going to get your active subscriber goal. And then you can put that in there. Then what you can see is it's broken down, that $10,000 per month goal, into week by week increments. So the first week, this is what you want to earn. The second week, this is what you want to earn. Third week, this is what you're going to earn. And you've got the start date here. And this is going to keep changing. So on that first week, if you put in that your actual recurring revenue right now is, say for example, is 400, then you can see it's going to keep changing as it goes down. So make sure that you are on track for your $10,000 a month goal. And what it's going to do is actually show you the monthly recurring revenue gap. So what are you short of? And what is the number of subscribers that you're short of as well? Because you can put in your active subscribers for that week there. And then this is going to give you your average revenue per subscriber as well. So every single week you want to come in here, you want to put in at the beginning of the week, put in the actual monthly recurring revenue that you're at for that week, for that month, sorry. The number of active subscribers, and then it's going to show you the gap for your subscribers and your revenue as well. And down the bottom, you can see this is where we're at right now, and this is how many subscribers we have. Then across on the right here, you've got a visual chart of it. So you're going to see your monthly recurring revenue tracker. Ideally, we want this to be going up in an upwards trajectory, but the reality of what we're going to see is it's probably going to go something like this. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, because nothing is ever linear. So what we want to see is ideally we want to see it going up, but some weeks it's going to go up, some weeks it's going to go down. But this is how we can see that ultimately on average it's going upwards. Then we can see the active subscriber. Again, we want to see that going upwards. The monthly recurring revenue goal. This is the goal of where we're at. And then the red line is going to show where you actually are right now. The monthly recurring revenue gap, this is going to show how far away you are from the goal. So this blue line is showing you where you want to be, and then you will see a red line showing you where you are. You may be below, you may be above, but the red line is going to show where you actually are right now. And same with the subscriber gap as well. So as I said, this is a tracker that I use all the time. I always have this open as a tab on my laptop, and every single week I come into here so that you don't find yourself at the end of the year or in 6 months time like, oh, I'm miles off, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to go. If you keep track of this week by week, it means that you know that you can flex your activity. If you are a long way off, if there is a big monthly recurring revenue gap, you know, okay, cool. This activity that I'm doing right now is not putting me on track for the revenue goal that I want. So I need to increase the outreach. I need to increase the social media posts I'm doing. Perhaps I need to put in another webinar that I'm doing. Perhaps I need to have more conversations. So you know that you can flex up the activity based on where you are in your monthly recurring revenue. So this is an amazing tool. I absolutely love this. Really, really recommend that you use it. And I know that you're going to get so much from that.
Now, when churn is low, monthly recurring revenue is predictable. So you don't wake up stressed. You don't lay awake thinking about things at night. You wake up strategic. Now, the contrast to this is the agency model. With the agency model, you need to close new deals every month. It's high volatility. It's high stress. You've got loads of clients and customers coming at you all the time. They always want something 24/7. But with your SaaS, it's a stable base and it's compounding growth. So what you do this month is compounds, and that monthly recurring revenue just stacks. Okay, so let's talk about scaling. There are only 3 ways to scale: add more users, increase your pricing, or increase retention. So let's break down each of those things. Let's talk about adding more users. To add more users, you need more outreach. You need to have more of those conversations that we spoke about before, more content. You need to be showing up in more places and just publishing a higher volume of content, and more partnerships. You can really look at strategic partnerships here and see, who do I know that has influence within an audience that I want to get in front of? And then you can actually leverage their audience by offering their audience something that they don't already have. So this is how I'd be adding more users. Increase your pricing. So you can improve positioning. So you might say, I'm not going to target those kind of lower based clients anymore. I'm going to be targeting higher based businesses. So for example, maybe you're looking at startup businesses before, but you might say, actually, so this is what I did before. I started out with people that just wanted to launch their course and they were just getting started in the coaching industry. And then after a couple of years, I completely repositioned to business owners that are doing 500K to 5 million. So the pricing structure dramatically changed because I actually changed the type of person that I was speaking to. To increase your pricing, you would improve your confidence. The more you have people, signing up to your offer, getting the results that you promised them, you're naturally going to feel more confident in charging more. And so that will really help you increase it. And also adjusting the tiers. It is completely natural for you to increase your pricing tiers over time. Everything goes up with inflation. The cost of bread goes up with inflation. The cost of everything goes up with inflation. My husband owns a hair salon, and every 6 months he puts the prices up because that's exactly what business owners do. So you can do the same with your pricing tiers as well. Important note on that though is that never say that your pricing is locked in for life. So, for example, I made this mistake with my founding members offer. I said, you will be locked in for life at $97. And so that meant that I could never increase their pricing because I'd promised that they would be locked in. So just don't say that someone will be locked in, because then that allows you the flexibility to increase their plan if you need to. And it means that everyone can have that same price increase. And then increase retention. So better onboarding, more community, really invest in the community and help them feel like a part of it. I think this is something that Whitelabel do so well. So many people wouldn't leave Whitelabel because they now feel like they're part of a community and they kind of have this family there. So the community part is huge, and also the value reinforcement. So keep reminding them what they've achieved. Keep coming back to them and saying, wow, this is where you started. This is where you are now. Do case study videos with them as well. Perhaps you can interview them, put them on your YouTube channel and show the results that you got that client. So you're reinforcing the value that you've been offering them. So remember earlier when I said most people add features in too soon? Now here's the rule. Only expand features when the revenue validates the demand. Don't expand your features because you're bored. And don't do that natural entrepreneur thing where you're like, this is working really well. Let me just, mix it up a little bit and add in some new features. Don't do it because you're bored. Don't do it because you've seen competitors around you and they've added it in, and then you start panicking and you're like, I just need to add in more. And also don't add in features per person. You are going to get someone coming to you and they're going to say, oh, I really wish it had this. And it's a really niche feature. And you know that it's not something that everyone needs, but you become a bit of a people pleaser and you think, oh yeah, I can do this for you. I can do this for you. Try not to get too customized per person, because what will happen is you'll get feature creep and you're going to end up having all of this stuff that you're kind of customizing for each individual customer, and it doesn't make sense. You're now overcomplicating the whole offer. So if someone suggests a feature, if someone says, I would love it if it did this, take that idea, go to your other clients, your other customers, and say, we're thinking of rolling out this. Here is a wait list to sign up if this is something that you're interested in, and see if you can gauge the interest from the rest of your clients on this before you start adding stuff in. I've done this before where I've spent months building stuff out because one person said that they wanted it. I built it out. It wasn't something that everyone wanted. And then a month later, that person ended up leaving. And then I'm just stuck with this feature that no one even wants. So really make sure before you implement anything, before you add in any features, make sure that you actually go to your customers and say, is this something that you all want? And see whether this is something across the board or whether it's just Sally on her own and that's what she wanted. So, path 1, time for money, stress, constant resets. Or path 2, predictable revenue, compounding growth, and asset. Now you understand the mechanics. This is no longer abstract. This is just maths. So here's the real question. Are you going to keep learning about SaaS, or are you going to build one? Okay, so let's just zoom out for a second here. In this masterclass, you've seen how to position your SaaS properly, install the infrastructure, customize it into a product, price it like a founder, launch it in 30 days, and onboard users so that they actually stay. You now understand the whole model. At this point, you're no longer thinking like a freelancer, you're thinking like a SaaS founder, and that is a completely different game. So from here, you've got 2 options. You can take everything that you've learned here, you can go away, you can build this yourself from scratch, and that absolutely works. Or option 2, you can shortcut the process, because everything that I showed you today runs on Whitelabel. And if you're going to build a SaaS business on Whitelabel anyway, you might as well get the bonuses, the support, the ecosystem that actually help you scale it. If you join or upgrade through my affiliate link, here's what you get on top of Whitelabel itself. So you are going to get access to my SaaS snapshot, the whole thing that I've just spoken you through, the pricing templates, the demo scripts, the launch framework, the onboarding templates. You're going to get private community access. You're going to get training and resources. You're going to get a weekly group group coaching call with me, and you're also going to get access to all of my other courses as well. Now, this isn't just about getting software, this is about building it properly, and I give you all of the strategy to enable you to scale this as big as you possibly want to. Now, high level is the engine, but what most people lack is the blueprint. And that's exactly what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the blueprint. So if you're ready to move from learning to building, then all you need to do is click the link below in my description. You can either join or upgrade through my high level link, or if you are already a part of high level, you're already on the top plan, but you still want to be part of my community, there is also a link for you to join directly there too. The opportunity here isn't theoretical. Whitelabel SaaS is one of the most leverage-rich business models available right now. You don't need to invent something. All you need to do is execute. Path 1 or path 2. So let's talk about setup fees. So oh God, I'm going to need to shake this off because I'm going to get giddy. Okay. You don't need to execute. Lol. Wait, I'm yawning. Oh God, don't. I just unlocked the yawn. Oh God. Last bit. Home stretch. Now, inside Go High Level, inside the Go High Level, oh my, fuck, stop, sorry, I got panicky. Yeah. Sorry.
Establishing credibility. And the tone should be calm and factual.
Okay, yeah. For example, if you can guarantee send... Oh my God, I'm just talking so much shit. That was like full internal Tourette's. Okay, might have to stand up and walk around in a bit because I'm losing the plot.